All right, we're back. Back like we never left. That'll be nice too because I'll be able to clip Mrs. Birdie's section into her own video, which will be nice. All right, cool. I'll give it a couple minutes for everybody to get back in. I appreciate you guys being willing to just jump right back on. Obviously, we know that we are playing with fire here. And kind of talking about some of the stuff we do, and we know how the restrictions work. So thank you guys for being understanding. All right, Phoenix, back like you never left.
Hey, yeah,
Yep.
your numbers will just start going higher, and then you'll be on the daily rankings. So let's get you up high. Keep tapping the screen, and I love Miss Birdie. She is such a sweet treat.
Yes, yeah. She was like going over her notes before. I'm like, babe, you're gonna do fine. Just let it fly, because I know like when she kind of has to like self filter with like the words that Phoenix, like you and I were used to filtering it. I think she gets worried about that because she knows how easily sometimes it gets kind of flagged.
Yeah, I always just try to make the word funny. So
Yeah. No, you're good at it. So as people are coming in, also, if this is the live that I upload, let me just say this: that I had only about 10 minutes prior to this, so you guys did not miss much if you're rewatching this. And that was Mrs. Birdie's segment. So maybe I'll just clip that into a different video. So if you're interested in that video part will be uploaded separately than this live, because this live will just be talking about what we're going to discuss tonight.
yeah, so make her like a little debut video.
Yeah. Yep. I can make her a little debut video. Yeah. Maybe I got to create like a Mrs. Birdie Wednesday night hype intro. Like I'll ask her like, what would your walk up song be in baseball, babe? I wonder what she'd pick.
That would be cute.
It'd probably be like Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit or something wild, knowing her. She'd go hard on it.
Oh, yeah, that would be so cute for her though.
Oh, she said Break Stuff as I said that. That's hilarious. You guys see that in the chat?
There you go. Break stuff.
That's awesome.
Too cute. I did not know that was her. Oh, she is so cute.
Yeah. Yep.
That is funny. So I just uploaded a video. It's wild because last night we had talked about a theory, and I watched a video a long time ago, and I don't know what happened to this creator. I think she's actually allegedly dating Steve's son, Steve Jr. And that is a creator named Chronicles of Olivia. I don't know if you've ever seen any of her work before, but she was big, and then now she's just deleted everything. I don't know, it's because she's involved in the family stuff or whatever, but she interviewed WSU Kim's a parent of a student in WSU. And her daughter actually had told her some of the things that were going on inside, and that there may have been more perpetrators. Well, today was the deadline for Ann Taylor to submit that to the judge in the court for a review, and they had to have actual facts. Well, in the video I just posted from the grub truck that night, the food truck.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days
I'm
old.
sorry, Phoenix. I won't click mute. My bad.
A note was passed from Joe to, I think her name is Molly with the sweatshirt on, and then a note eventually ends up in Kaylee's hands. And Kaylee's response to that note is quite shocking. Her whole demeanor changes, and I think they knew there was going to be some type of shakedown that night. And I wonder if no one actually went back home.
Well, so I was emailed something that I actually was like asking Mrs. Birdie. I'm like, do you think I should show this? Because I haven't talked to this creator. It's a popular creator, one of the first to kind of like maybe talk about some other suspects when this first happened, and some leaked text messages between those two. I don't even want to say the name because I could text her and ask just out of like respect. So I'm not going to do that. But honestly, the video has like no views. And whoever sent me that, thank you, because what Phoenix just touched on, there's pieces of that in those texts, and it says unverified, but I don't know if that's just to keep it online. I don't know.
Maybe it makes sense that it would fall into alignment with the bigger picture, that if indeed this is an operation to
Right.
keep people safe and safe national security wise from
Have you seen them?
I've not seen them. However, with that being said, when I listened to WSU Kim, it had me pondering the possibility that they all knew something was up and that maybe Kaylee didn't go home, that she was at the hospital with some type of allergy to the carbonara. So that was another possibility.
Yes. Well, that would be wild if that's the case that happened.
Right. And as I listened to you and Miss Birdie talk about, the Dateline episode, something kept going through my mind. So now BK was attracted to Ethan. Is that the case? Because he was beautiful? Or because everyone in that house knew that Ethan was staying there? I don't know what happened with Ethan and the frat or who knows what. But for some reason, he was staying there. In the empty room, they were keeping some of his belongings. So it wasn't like he wasn't not known to be there all the time, but he had 2 vehicles at that house that they did confiscate, and they did have to turn them over back to the parents after they searched all their cars. 2 vehicles of Ethan's were there.
And Phoenix, if you remember towards the end of the chat last night, and again, chat, all the full lives, they're uploaded to YT. That username or handle, it's spelled the same way as my TikTok one. It just has an S on the end. So it's Birdie Bomb Shells on YouTube. So you guys can watch the full lives. But at the end, Phoenix, do you remember how we were asking about the timeline change and if that TikTok timestamp was at 3:16? And it started talking about just in general, the little like verified evidence of Bethany and Dylan's whereabouts. And then also we don't know when Xana and Ethan got home. So then we start to question, well, just because the girls got into the private car, how do we know they went inside?
We don't.
Right.
No, we don't know at this point if what it is true that it was parents' weekend or dad's weekend or whatever, that Dylan and Bethany were even at the house. And then Xana and Ethan did they ever make it back? And then Kaylee and Maddie were 2 separate places, obviously in the same car, but not with Ethan and Xana. So did anybody ever make it back to that house?
Right. So what I have pulled up is a couple of videos I have, because in those leaked text messages that I was looking through, which I promise you, chat, that I will reach out to that creator and I will ask for permission. I have no idea what they will say, if they'll let me. I mean, it might even be nice to have her join the live and talk about it. But I don't even know if that's anything she wants to talk about. So with that being said, what I did though is I went and I looked up other kind of stuff that I was seeing in there. And that same creator who was allegedly texting with Steve had somebody who created a profile just to join their live, that their username was just a dot. It was just a period. And it was interesting because, again, in the unverified text, Steve starts to ask a lot of questions about who is that? Like, how did they know that? Like, okay, can they verify that they live there with the King Road house in the background? Like, it's interesting as hell. And people say, we know all about Dot. Yep.
Okay, so there was a big old controversy when this happened, right?
Yep.
And I think Brat was bothered by the whole thing and just totally something wild. I won't go down there.
Well,
but
I wanted to ask that because this video that I'm seeing, it had nothing to do. This is that same Dot person, not this is a fake silhouette. So now I'm questioning, and I have no problem admitting if I'm wrong on something, but it's like, I know it's old news, guys. I've heard it too before, but there was a separate recording prior, and then it matched it up with that live. So I was just curious. I didn't know if people had heard about this all or what.
I think we're trying to extract the truthful information, what lines up to what we think might have happened, that theory. We're not trying to summon her, believe me, that don't even want to go down that route.
Yeah. What about the neighbor though?
The neighbor,
because this is the neighbor. I'm sorry, not Dot. Dot is I have a different video with that. I'm sorry. So this video is the neighbor.
Okay, so let's listen to it.
I don't know if people are aware of the fact that there were at least 2 of the people. They were mutilated. I don't know what I can say. I don't know what I'm allowed to say. But I can say
Dot. That is Dot. Dude, I'm sorry, chat. I got my videos mixed up. Sorry. So with that all being said, I get it. My bad. I have the videos mixed up. But so we're gonna move past that. I guess what I'm trying to say though is more so on the leaked text and just the response and the communication back and forth. It was just interesting how that was such a draw in responses, because there'd be a lot of messages with no response, but anytime that got brought up, Steve would respond, is what I'm getting at.
Right. So, is there any truth to that? We don't know. We haven't seen anything. But when you look at, play WSU, Kim.
Okay.
Happened the morning of November 13th still remains a mystery. Continue the details of the incident.
Why is this?
So they were given a narrative.
Where's part 1?
No.
Part 3, part 4. What the heck? Oh, part 1.
Continue the details of the incident on 1122 King Road.
She knew. She'd known since 10. Dylan and Bethany were in the downstairs room. Dylan saw them out the window. They're lying.
According to Kim's daughter, multiple people from Pi Beta Phi were called. These phone calls were made 2 to 3 hours before the first 911 call, and news spread like wildfire.
A whole bunch of kids were given a narrative by the kids that were there.
Locals are coming out claiming their kids or
That's another part of this, guys, that we have to understand could play a huge factor in that. What she just said, saying there was a whole bunch of kids there that gave the other kids the narrative of what happened there.
Correct.
That's huge, because
And that would be Dylan and Bethany giving out the information.
Correct. So, and then you got other people that are posting this as I moderate for
friends.
a few channels, and almost daily I've seen locals claiming that their kids are friends of their kids. We're at 1122 at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. So Kim's story makes total sense regarding her daughter knowing about this by 10 a.m. Personally, I think it's got weight to it. 100%. I do. I've listened to it a bunch of times. I genuinely think that she's not doing this to troll. I think, at least in the slightest, she believes this. You know what I mean, Phoenix?
Yeah, because she had heard this firsthand from the kids in the school around. I mean, the kids in the school knew what happened before 911, way before 911.
Yes. All right, I'll keep going.
Were at the home between 8 to 10 a.m. This user says that her nephew said a lot of people were at the home by 11. This is still 1 hour before the first 911 call. I even spoke with a student at U of I who also knew people got called. But when it comes to speaking with anyone who received a phone call or immediate friends of those who did, it's kind of hard to get people to talk. Why? Kim originally called into the Drunk Turkey show, and they did a good job of vetting her.
There was certain validation that needed to be done.
I don't want to keep pausing it, but I can appreciate this video for talking about the background of it, because I've only ever seen the video of where just the phone is up talking. You know what I mean?
Right. This was the actual chronicles of Olivia. She does a good job.
Yeah, shout out to Olivia.
Yeah, she really does a good job. But finish watching the video and then we'll catch up.
All right.
person that called us in stated that she had a daughter and a son that attended WSU, and they had friends and a roommate that were close to the situation.
I called the FBI on the 13th, actually, because I knew my daughter received the text. That is all true. She had received the text by 10 a.m.
Kim mentioned to me that she talks very fast, so let's be nice in the comment section. You can slow down the speed of this video if you would like. Also, for privacy reasons, I bleeped out certain names we talked about.
And one of the girls who sent it to her boyfriend plays football for UI, and supposedly he had sent the night at my daughter's house, but again, we were in a hotel in Pullman. I never saw him. I never saw. So, but then when I called at 5 o'clock, when we got the alert on the way home, she knew everything that had happened. And down to like the injuries and where the kids were, and that Dylan and Bethany were in the downstairs room. They knew the guys who were there. It wasn't just one. They knew who they were. There was a lot of loud noise, and they locked themselves in their rooms and went to sleep. I said, or we're hiding, whatever. But I said, why didn't they call the police? She goes, I don't know. And like, I just really still can't get my head around that. And I know you're frightened, but they were not terrified. Like, what the police report said, the probable cause warnings is not what these kids were all told.
Yeah.
It's not. And one of the girls, even on 2020, said, I think it was a girl, I'm not sure, in the black sweater, blue sweater, said, I texted Donna in the morning and I didn't hear back. Police weren't called till noon.
Wow.
They were there, and they were there early on. And what I've been told by the FBI is that they're aggressively investigating everything I've told them. So I do think they do know. I do think they're going to make more arrests. But I do think that Kaylee's, at least her father, should know. Give him answers. He needs them. I know the condition of Kaylee's body and Maddie's. Crushes my soul for him, and I just can't even take away that pain. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Who does that?
That all happened and the roommates were just asleep.
They weren't asleep. They were awake. They heard it all. They knew who it was. And I don't know, in the translation, if there saw 3 people inside and 1 outside watching, or 2 people inside and 1 outside watching. So from what I've been able to boil down and get pieces together from what I know, and I think Wazoo's involved too. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not just saying U of I. I mean, both schools are involved.
So did she skip over that? Like, as far as the connection of the...
Yeah, so odd.
So what does that mean? Because she went right to I think, WSU is involved too.
Well, I wonder how much WSU Kim knows. They eventually moved to the other East Coast. I mean, all the way across the other side of the country.
Prior
Both
to this
schools.
being released?
No, I think after all this, they moved pretty quickly.
I can see why, maybe.
Yeah.
For that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
understandable. Because this thing went mega viral.
Yeah.
As far as in terms of this case.
Right.
I'll keep it going.
And not just because he was a teacher there. How did he get vetted? Who is vetting him to be a teacher in classroom 12 and my kids sitting in classroom 13? Who's doing that? And I stand behind everything I say, and I've said everything to the FBI immediately. When I discovered a lie, I called the FBI and I told them the lie. I have called the schools. I'm working right now on having Greek Girl suspended. My kid loves Greek Girl. She loves it. But it is so out of control. Well, 10 kids have died since last, February?
10?
And this just goes back to the people that are saying, especially like Alpha, who came in the chat and said, I've never heard of anything else. This is the first time in a decade and a half.
No, there are quite a few.
There's so many. Same thing with the scandals on the cops.
Yeah, Hannah, Hunter. I mean, you can go on and on. They're mysterious hazing issues over these, but I'll tell you that fraternity has been removed and there won't be active in their chapter until 2030.
Yeah, they're suspended. Correct?
Yep. Or on what do they call it? Oh my gosh. What is it when you're on
Probation?
Yeah, probation.
Yep.
At
that I know of.
At which
at U of I. After Sam Martinez died, made sure the kids were very, very aware of the Good Samaritan rule, which means we don't care what state you're in of inebriation or whatever you're doing. You are calling in on somebody who's in real peril. We're not even going to look at you. We're going to say thank you and not even take your name. Right? That's what the Good Sam was. I thought Idaho had.
And that's when most of this started, was 2019, way before this big old issue. In 2019, it started. And when it happened with Sam, it was related to the fraternity and the initiation. But not only that, a law was passed that the colleges had to publicly announce if any issues happened between initiation, hazing, all that other stuff. It had to be public information. And that's what Sam's law was about. And that's what she's referring to.
Makes sense to me.
Moscow had it too, but I don't know about that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why the kids aren't. I mean, no, I feel like they were just trying to exercise their power at the beginning of the school year. And you're right. Likely, they put a block. Yes. Mm-hmm. That could have been. I want to believe that Dylan did and Bethany did everything they possibly could. I don't know any of these kids did anything wrong. Yeah. Now, I don't know that I believe that, but
it's just so weird that was it 8 a.m. that the first phone call was made to like sorority sisters at Pi Beta Phi? So from 8 o'clock till 11:58, that's literally 4 hours of time that goes by.
Right. And if she was awake, like she says, that was 8 hours, and she heard all of that.
So with the do you know for sure that is what the phone calls were about when the roommates called at 8 a.m. and
I think what I heard, and I'm not sure which of the girls said it, was they were getting rid of everything in the house. They were cleaning the house, which would explain the van shoe print. Because I'm almost 100% sure that TA guy doesn't wear Vans. College kids, frat kids wear Vans. Like, come on, right? And then to say that Murphy was found in the bedroom with Kaylee but didn't have a speck of blood on him. Are you kidding me? The smell would have just bowled you over.
Another thing is, I mean, to get rid of, it's like, it doesn't take 4 hours. So
so I don't know. I think they were coming up with the narrative, because the narrative that was sent to my daughter at around 10 in the morning, it was that 4 students were killed. They were Pi Phis, and I think they had grouped Kaylee into that Pi Phi group. They didn't, because she's an AP.
But I think she was originally in that sorority.
I think she was. And there's another theory that she was in WSU before U of I. But, to the point that they had time to clean because the guy didn't wear Vans. Who wore the Vans?
I don't know.
I don't know if you caught that, because play it back a little bit.
Found in the bedroom with Kaylee but didn't have a speck of blood on him. Are you kidding me? The smell would have just bowled you over.
Another thing is, I mean, to get rid of...
I believe that, but
it's just so weird that was it 8 a.m. that the first phone call was made to like sorority sisters at Pi Beta Phi?
Do I need to go back further?
No, right there.
Okay.
So from 8 o'clock till 11:58, that's literally 4 hours of time that goes by.
Right. And if she was awake, like she says, that was 8 hours, and she heard all of that.
So with the do you know for sure that is what the phone calls were about when the roommates called at 8 a.m. and
I think what I heard, and I'm not sure which of the girls said it, was they were getting rid of everything in the house. They were cleaning the house, which would explain the van shoe print. Because I'm almost 100% sure that TA guy doesn't wear Vans.
The TA guy, Brian.
Yeah, she almost said... Oh, she must have almost said Brian. Yeah.
Yeah.
The TA guy doesn't wear Vans. Koberger doesn't strike me as the van type.
No, he strikes me as the dress shoe type.
Yeah. I got Vans on right now. So,
But I know you weren't there.
I was not there. I don't know if I have a good alibi though. So maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Basically, what she's saying is one of the, and for those of you in the chat that don't know, in the court documents, when I was reading through them, someone said there was a latent shoe print, which means there was some cleanup. And before it was released that there was actual cleanup, a witness is going to testify that there was potential cleanup. I caught that, and that was one of my viral videos. There was a cleanup that took place before the 911 call.
I don't even think that's a stretch, Phoenix. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you put that out, because I'll go back and I'll watch some of the videos that you or other creators have put out in the beginning, and it's like that was like really kind of fringe originally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was taboo to talk about it. Although it was in the documents, you can put two and two together. You have to read between the lines, and you have to get in that mindset. Okay, if I'm the one that's trying to cover up, they cleaned up because the second CSI team that went in there found the latent shoe print after they luminoled everything. So they had to do a thorough investigation by sending in a second crew.
Now, do you remember when we were talking about this last? We talked about how there was somebody, again, this is not confirmed, but it was something about like the smell of the fumes of like bleach, and that's maybe why somebody would have been unconscious in the house.
It could possibly be, and that is the whole theory, that after they cleaned up, they left the house. Initially, I heard they weren't there, and then if they were there, they came back early in the morning to before they called 911. That would have overpowered the actual smell of the iron in a corpse that is starting to decompose. And then on top of that, if you think about somebody decomposing or losing their blood with alcohol in it, that's just even reeks worse.
Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head, but like fortunately I've never smelled like massive amounts of blood, but like I've had bloody noses, like probably most people have, and like I feel like most of the time, like you can kind of taste it and it tastes irony, but like when you have like a really bad gushing bloody nose, you can smell it even in that little amount. I can't imagine this.
Yeah, and I don't want to get really deep into it,
but
women kind of have an idea too. So when you start thinking about it, it's like, how could the dog even be kept calm or quiet if its owner is there and they know something is wrong? Even dogs, animals can sense this.
Yeah. I'll keep letting this play. That was a good catch, Phoenix.
College kids, frat kids wear Vans. Like, come on, right? And then to say that Murphy was found in the bedroom with Kaylee but didn't have a speck of blood on him. Are you kidding me? The smell would have just bowled you over.
Another thing is, to get rid of, it's like, it doesn't take 4 hours. So
yeah,
it's like,
so I don't know. I think they were coming up with a narrative, because the narrative that was sent to my daughter at around 10 in the morning, it was that 4 students were killed. They were Pi Phis. And I think they had grouped Kaylee into that Pi Phi group. They didn't, because she's an AFI. Because I remember the girl saying, that's weird that an AFI and a Pi Phi is living together. And I said, well, those are different. I don't know. Maybe one of them dropped or something. I don't know. And I don't know Greek. I went to Central Washington University. We didn't have Greek there. But, so anyways, they said that they were stabbed to death, and they said about Bethany's injuries. And then...
Wait, whose injuries? Bethany?
Not Bethany, I'm sorry. About Maddie's injuries.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know their injuries or not.
Mm-hmm.
But
another thing
they all knew that.
That's interesting, because from what I had heard was the kid that discovered the bodies. But from what you're telling me, it seems like multiple people knew about the injuries before the so-called person So that's not true then.
So he might have been called over. See, I can't imagine that Hunter Chapin would have not immediately called 911.
Part is really confusing.
Because I know there were guys there as well.
So, you know.
So, did she just mix up the names again?
I want to say that was his brother, because his brother was in the frat too.
All right, let's just.
But somebody was saying it was a different Hunter. But she just said it was his brother.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Hunter Chapin.
That's his brother. And Maisie is his sister. They're twins. And so if that is correct, and if she is telling everything in the early beginnings, then his brother was the one that possibly found him.
Yeah.
He was at the frat.
But as we know it, it's Hunter Johnson.
Yes.
Who is also a part of the frat?
I believe so.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, again, could just mix up the names, but I feel like, again, in the beginning days, like, how would you even know that Ethan had a brother that went there, that first and last name? You know what I mean?
Possible. Well, did they have it? I can't remember. I'd have to pull it up in a document to see. It just says HC. It doesn't tell me which his last name is.
Yeah.
You know for sure there were other guys that stayed overnight.
I do know that there were other guys there. I know told me that he was a triplet and that his brother was there.
Hunter Chapin, yeah, he was.
Yeah, so he was there, and in fact, he's the one who told his parents. His parents said.
Well, that gives a little
because
bit of...
Yeah, it gives more detail because his parents were the first to know.
Yeah, wow. So if they're already not going to tell us the truth about what time this happened, I could see it not being a stretch. They would tell us it was a different person.
Correct.
On the TV, so I assume that's the fact. That's true. So the police clearly weren't there yet, and everybody was told by the kids, not the police. Which, right, all these kids are there first, so the first call. So when my daughter, and I know that, here's what I do know for certain. When we dropped my daughter off to her house, before we went to the hotel, it was like about 12-ish. I hadn't seen her all day, or her boyfriend. But then when we went and picked her up for breakfast, it was probably around 8, 9. Still wasn't there, we went in. At some point, she was either there or she wasn't. Mm-hmm. The girls, and I kept saying again, why didn't they call the police? She's like, I don't know, Mom, because it's a party house. I don't know why. I think that's why. And that's kind of where that feedback comes from. I mean, and I said, have you been there? And she goes, well, no, Mom. I haven't been there, but a lot of people do. I mean, they're cool. Like, and I said, how do you know? Do you even know? And she goes, well, she knows Xana's sister. Xana's sister, Jasmine, goes to school at Wazoo. So she, and Xana's sister Jasmine is Greek too. I don't know how she's a no, but she's friends on social media with. I don't even know if she is with the kids over there. But really good friends with the Pi-Fis and really good friends with. She's a sorority sister. So, and that's where it came from. And then when charging documents or whatever came out here, she came down from. She was woken up, and I said, look at what they said, and showed her. She says, that's not what happened. And it was so absolutely organic that I have no reason not to believe that's what she truly believes, and that's the narrative she knew. So they were given a narrative.
Interview a mother who tells shocking info about that morning. Her daughter says by 10.
So
they were given a narrative. A whole bunch of kids were given a narrative by the kids that were there. Maybe received the text, wasn't present, but received the text from somebody in Pi-Fi. And then she distributed it, and other people did as well. And that's why all the kids know it's a different story.
The importance in this is that she got a phone call from Pi Beta Phi.
Yes, that's exactly right. I don't know what format the communication was in. I believe it was Snapchats. The problem, a lot of the problems is investigation.
So that probably hadn't even come out yet.
No, but there was plenty of In the documents, there was plenty of back and forth text. We know that she logged in certain Indeed in certain locations, LinkedIn. I mean, there's just so much information that I'm glad you found these to go back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm. I think that was a good idea on the chat's behalf as far as, oh, that's funny. I'm tagged in the comments over here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hood Fairy tagged me.
Oh, she's good.
Yeah. No, it was a good idea. You know, when the chat was like, yeah, we should go back and look. If I was having to like vet a witness or vet somebody for credibility, I've heard or seen nothing that says anything other than somebody who sounds like they're nervous and scared because they're saying something that a lot of people don't know and she's putting it out there, and it seems to check a lot of boxes of stuff that
in the early beginnings. And we are watching the chat. Bertie and I do scan the chat as we go along. There are some sketchy people in here, but you know, like it's Bertie's, he can let him ride and until he says gotta go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, mods, you guys know it, like, whatever. I do not like kicking people out of the chat. I don't. It sucks. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to. So use the judgment, but that's also just something Phoenix and I really preach. So we don't care if people disagree and duke it out in the comments. Just don't. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. Just like don't troll, and that's such a weird word, but it's such a descriptive word, and I think people know what I mean.
Is it's Snapchat. But if you weave your way back through the Venmos, because if you're not Greek, you can't go on Greek Row, especially if you're a guy. So I do think that I know they do it at PyCats at Wazoo. They infiltrate or they get a hold of somebody who will and sell for them on campus. Like Brian couldn't go to the Sigma Chi house. He's not a Sigma Chi. Only girls can go after 10 o'clock, at least at Wazoo anyway. But you don't go to Greek Row, and unless you're an athlete, you can, because athletes aren't supposed to be. And my son's an athlete. Athletes, it's really, really frowned upon for them to be in the Greek system. But they're allowed to go to the parties. They get invited to the parties, right? Because Yeah. So, and if you're a girl and you're not Greek, you can go after 10 p.m. That's how it is at Wazoo anyway. It's very structured. And they say that's a safety structure. I feel like it might not be, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. Everybody finds their place, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think the girls, okay, I'm just going to say this. I really want to be clear about this. I don't think they were bullies. I think to me, they look kind to everybody, and their kindness maybe made them more naive and put them in a precarious position they didn't even know they were going to be in. Not that I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying goodness is not a right to hurt somebody. But I do think they were sucked into it because of Sigma Chi. And I do believe it's Sigma Chi. This is bigger than them. And it's bigger than Moscow police, which is why I call the FBI on the 13th, not Moscow police or Pullman. They're afraid. These kids are afraid to talk. I don't have a feel for Hunter. I think Ethan was probably, from what I can look at, he was the leader of the two of them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I could be wrong. I don't know. But also, the girls who were on Dateline in 2020, they are lying.
How do you know that? Did your daughter mention something about it?
Because I'm looking. No, I didn't. The first time I thought, oh, you're just being judged with him. Just look again. Like, I'm just wanting to see them being bad. But then I'm looking like, no, they're lying. They have created a narrative to protect something or somebody or themselves, and they are feeding it around. And what they're realizing is they're putting themselves in so much more danger. And there's families who could go years with never finding out what really happened. Wow. I do think that Brian was a mastermind. I do not believe he was alone, because the information first given to my daughter was that there were 3 people there.
And this was at what time were the 3 people there? At 8 a.m. or at night?
When the murders happened, but
around 4.
So do you want to know what that tells me, Phoenix and chat? That tells me that there was very descriptive details given floating around that even Kim's daughter didn't say. Because I think Kim, she's letting everything else fly, and maybe she does get into it. But she knew the narrative. Yeah, man, you know how many people were there when it happened to it. But she knew the narrative. Yeah, man, you know how many people were there when it happened there. Yeah, we're here. You cut out, but you're back. No, it's because. But she knew the narrative.
Yeah, we're here. You cut out, but
Yeah.
you're back.
No, it's
But
because
she knew the narrative.
yeah, my air kicked on. Isn't that ridiculous that
The narrative.
yeah, my air kicked on. Isn't that ridiculous that
But
like-
did you hear her say that?
No, sorry, no, it was cutting out still. What did you say, Phoenix?
But she knew the narrative. It was dropped early enough.
Yeah.
So they were given a
Yep. No, I totally think it's weird.
We'll just wait till he comes back, chat. Yeah, I know that they crucified her and they trashed her, and all the information that she had been given came from her children. So it was smart for her to move, obviously, if that was so compromised there. And she was, I think they moved to Maine, or they moved all the way to the other side of the world.
All right, I had to turn my air off. So let's go back to this. Did you say anything, Phoenix, while I was gone?
No, I was just telling them, it was terrible how trash talk they did to Kim when she was trying to relay all this information. And she was I'm just going to say, she was very proactive with telling the FBI what was going on. But obviously the FBI may have already known.
Right. Well, I believe that they did. I believe that they did know that already. Especially if, yeah. I don't want to.
Yeah, she was saying that Brian was the mastermind. I could see that. I could see him being the total mastermind to maybe an advisor position to tell these people how to carry out something. And like I said, they framed him.
Yeah. I have like a I guess what I would say is like a statement about what you would say would be like a red pill for like what people call normies. Maybe even like too big to swallow for normies. But it's like I try to just say it in like 5 sentences. So I will do that at some point on the live.
Okay, cool. Was anyone else arrested?
Well, what I do think
Too far.
when the murders happened, but
Around 4 in the morning.
Maybe Dylan thought they were just going to be shaken. They have created a narrative to protect something or somebody or themselves, and they are feeding it around. And what they're realizing is they're putting themselves in so much more danger. And there's families who could go years with never finding out what really happened.
Wow.
I do think that Brian was a mastermind. I do not believe he was alone, because the information first given to my daughter was that there were 3 people there.
And this was at what time were the 3 people there? At 8 in the morning or at night?
When the murders happened, but
around 4 in the morning.
Maybe Dylan thought they were just going to be shaking them up for the money.
So the 3 people standing outside was at 4 in the morning, and one was a creepy guy. I think I remember hearing that one was creepy.
Yeah, they just call him the creeper. There's a lot of creepers that hang out there. I don't know. I think there's more questions to be asked.
Mm-hmm.
So my detector test is to be taken. I know they don't hold up in court, but they certainly work well to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I think the only one who passed
right
is that
there.
Brian, because he's such a sociopath.
And when
Before we go too far, she says that they thought they were there for the money. Now, what money? What college kids would have so much money that somebody needed to go there for money? From what? And we've always said this from the beginning. Yeah. This is part of a bigger operation.
Yeah. And gosh,
and that is a rumor. I know it's a rumor that Maddie may have done this in the XYZ and she was the target. That house was a target, not just one person. If they knew what was going on in this house and other people, other authorities, other law enforcement, other federal partners, if they knew what was going on in this house and some shakedown was coming that night and someone passed the note to Kaylee and Kaylee got the note, do you think that they would not be ready or on guard or prepared for anything?
I do. Or you
I
call
do too.
People over. That could have been the frantic calls.
Absolutely. Help.
Yeah. And
They didn't call 911. They called who they knew
right.
would come and help them.
Right. Absolutely. And I have like so many things in my head that I just cannot connect, but I know that there's a logical bridge that exists, and I can't connect them all, but it's all connected. Every single thing that we're talking about is connected. It's just there's little gaps that are missing in between. And those little gaps are all either the redactions, they're the missing camera footage, they're things that's what you have to dig for. Like the things you have to dig for and the things that are redacted and the things that you're never going to know are what's needed to connect them all.
But what she just said, can possibly connect them to the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Brian was arrested. The first thing Brian said was, "Oh, was anyone else?"
Yeah, they just call
I'll go back 10 seconds, chat.
the creeper. There's a lot of creepers that hang out there. I don't know. I think there's more questions.
Sorry. I meant to talk about that point too, Phoenix. Like, there's a lot of creepers that hang out there. You know, so it's like that also kind of derails the narrative of like, well, Kaylee was being stalked. They dropped that from the narrative. Now it's like unconfirmed or whatever you want to call it. But it's like, okay, she just is like, there's a lot of creepers there. So how do you know it was a dude?
Right. When she said there were a lot of creepers, obviously that's more than one. And even if they did have some type of stalkers or whatever you want to call them, how do they know? They specifically have already told Kim, or other information has come in, that the narrative is that house is being, something going on there is creepy.
Yes.
To be asked. So my detector test is to be taken. I know they don't hold up in court, but they certainly work well to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the only one who passed one is that Brian, because he's such a sociopath.
And when Brian was arrested,
Again, I'm just like, you think about it. So did he pass the lie detector test?
I have no idea. Did they give him one?
I have. If that has, it's gone in one ear and out the other in the past. Chat.
It's not admissible in a court, but it's a good tool for detectives and investigators to see exactly what possibly could have happened.
She said that Brian was the only one to pass a lie detector test, and the other ones
So I
won't
wonder
take
who
it.
else I wonder who else they gave it to.
That's interesting.
the first thing Brian said was, "Oh, was anyone else arrested?"
Well, what I do think is the reason he wanted to be extradited so quickly is because he's got something. He knows every single thing that these kids have done. When they felt like they were being watched, stalked, they were being watched. They were being
Stop
watched.
it right there. If they were being watched, who do you think they were being watched by?
That's where it kind of goes down in one or two lanes. It's either the feds or like some sort of like operation going on, or both. And they got burned. And they got burned.
If my source is not doing the job that I need them to do, I'm going to go send my guys, my backyard guys, to go to their yard and watch what they're doing. And if the feds were already watching them, of course they're going to feel like, dang, I've got people following me. I've got I said this in the beginning. This is like 21 Jump Street on steroids in college.
Phoenix, I agree. I agree totally. And it's like, I think you and I, over the last week, we have fully wrapped our heads around, guys, it was both things. It was both things. And I'll stop and I'll say this because it's relevant right here. And what I titled this is like, and I'm going to, excuse me. I'm going to drop an F-bomb, but it's like, what the fuck did we just watch? Okay. We watched a covert domestic intel op implode on national television. We watched a C gang expose a federal sting by executing a move so brutal, it forced the government to kill their own story and replace it with a Netflix-friendly version. We watched law enforcement, federal agencies, and media manufacture a villain to cover for their own failure or complicity. This wasn't a crime of passion per se, but could you imagine if the families, if families and people in the United States, they found out that the federal operation was taking place on a United States university on campus because the Sea Gang had infiltrated it, and they are doing this operation amongst their children. And then this happened when the op that they were doing amongst their children went bad. Could you imagine if that's what they came out and told us? It could be both.
Sideways. It went sideways.
Yes.
Obviously. They had to get to the source before they could actually expose the whole network.
Correct. And people go, how did it go bad? Well, it went bad because again, I'm just going to go down my lane here. If Brian Koberger was brought over to WSU and he was tracking or mapping or doing whatever of the rug scene, maybe that's why he's around 23 times, whatever it may be. But where I'm going with this is, even if that wasn't the case with Brian, if there was just a sting operation by the feds going on because it's on a trafficking pipeline for the Sea Gang, and the Sea Gang found out that there was an informant that they were working with or that was associated with somebody they were working with in a frat or at that university, they sent a message. And if that was going on under the Fed, while the feds had this entire thing on its radar, that would be terrible that they would then have to say, we had an operation at the University of Idaho where we suspected the Sea Gang was trafficking rugs, narcos, and humans through the Greek life. They found out and they put a hit, and people would go, why the hell are you doing this on a college campus? So they have to manufacture a narrative that's opposite of that.
But that's what the study was for, to study
Right. Predictive criminal behavior and emerging adults.
Yes, that's what the study was.
Connects.
And a lot of people are saying, oh, they're just making something up. It doesn't connect. It does connect. But if I had to sit here and show you how it connects, you all would be seriously blown away. You can go do the research on the parents. You can go and pull all public information up in regards to all their criminal records, including Steve G. Anybody can go pull these documents.
I mean,
anyone.
You can even go look, like Steve G. Didn't he have some ties to like the port and some sort of like, maybe it's bad information, but it's like in his early days, like in the 2000s, like some ties to where like that, wherever he was working or whatever he was involved in could have had, some sort of things going on where that site was being used to import this stuff. And it's like, did they either reach back out to him? Did they flip him? Did the Sea Gang find out that he got flipped? So they went after, there's so many things that just point to like, and as WSU Kim said, this is so much bigger than Sigma Chi.
Absolutely. It's huge.
It's huge. And that's when I speculated about if you were watching the news and the local leader of the Sinaloa, or however you say it, I can't even say it properly because of my lisp, but that Sea Gang in Salem, Oregon, which is less than 8 hours away from where this all went down, gets arrested. And then Dateline, within 48 hours, drops a docuseries or documentary to keep the narrative, again, crystal clear. Don't look over here. Look over here. We're dropping a new documentary on it. I just think that it could totally align. And also, if you go through the court documents too, I find it very interesting that they're talking about how like Dateline is, or not just Dateline, but YouTube and the algorithms are polluting the areas that jurors would be picked from by pushing Koberger being guilty. And that they're trying to influence jurors. Like that in itself is not a typical thing that would happen unless they need to keep this narrative safe.
And they need, I've seen it happen in other juries that they have seen documents on the subject and they still allow them to be jurors, even admitting they've seen some type of network documentary or, newspapers or articles. And it impacts the true answer that they get from the jury. I believe it does. And they should not allow these documentaries to drop. Well, court isn't even in session yet.
Yes. And one of the points that they brought out in the docuseries, I don't know why I keep saying docuseries, sorry, in the documentary, I don't know if you picked up on this, but why they were fighting over the unaliving penalty, it could have been a play by the prosecution for who they can select for the jury. Because if you're going to be part of a capital case, you have to verbally say that you're okay with sentencing somebody to that. And you want to know who gets most of the time excluded from those juries? A lot of people that have any kind of empathy as far as maybe women, or whether it be they went through this whole thing, but it ends up with people that are like, yeah, I'm okay with putting somebody to do it. I could do it. And it doesn't help as far as the jury selection when that's on the table, is more so what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it really pollutes the jury pool.
Right.
It does.
Right. So I'll let this keep playing.
Diligently. I believe he's been in that house before. I think my understanding is he had been in the house, but it was a creeper and they kicked him to the curb and wasn't allowed to come back. That is what I think happened like a few weeks prior. And I've told the police that. And that is because I've gotten that from the girls, because if they're not partying there and they're just getting this narrative from, but it's still really, the towns are pretty small together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty connected. So it's like being on the same campus. It's just 5 miles apart, right?
So your daughter mentioned that a few weeks prior, someone was kicked out. That was a creeper. Like, is that something you heard from your daughter?
That she just thinks she doesn't. She was told it was the creeper, and people would come to buy there, and they were like this 30-year-old. It's like they're like 25 to 30-year-olds that don't belong in college, that have record. And it took me forever to get the police. I called every day for almost a month. And I do know a mom tried every day for 15 days. She had spoken with Ethan at 2, where her son had texted Ethan at 2 in the morning. He was at Ethan's memorial service. They were good friends. Ethan had texted him at 2 in the morning. She knew, so this kid knew where he was at 2 a.m. And it took like 15 days, she said, to get somebody to call them back. They were so buried. And so I just called every day. And when I called the president of UI, because I thought I'm just going to call him, because I'm not hearing back and I need to know he's heard my information. I don't need to know what's going on. I need you to know what I know, because I do believe it. I think it's relevant. And why would I make it up? I mean, or why would my kid make it up?
Yeah, no, and the fact that there's multiple kids who experience that, it's not just your daughter making this up. There's like multiple kids that got the phone call.
It's a rabbit hole sometimes when you're not getting anything from the police and things aren't adding up. I mean, 1 and 1 is making 12. Come on. It has to balance out. It has to make sense. And I can't help but think, if I was the parent, I'd be thinking nothing is making sense. And it's being taken all these places where probably it's just the simplest explanation is usually the explanation, right? In life. But there's a lot of things in it, a lot of lying. And these kids are lying like crazy. I can't believe they let them come home for Christmas. And that's what I said to them. I said, are you seriously sending my kid home for Christmas? I know I lose here, but if they're Greek on either campus, you keep them there. A SWAT killed the guy December 15th.
Yeah, Brent Kopaka.
So my son, he came downstairs the day that the affidavit came out with the probable cause, and he said, Mom, the map doesn't work. Like, the paint doesn't work.
Hey.
Wazoo is a walking...
Probable cause for what?
What did he say? Or what did she say?
And that's what I said to them. I said...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
She said something about on the 15th with Kopaka. And she said something about a probable cause. A probable cause for what?
Well, she talked about the SWAT team.
The SWAT team that
I'll
was dispatched first.
Yeah, I don't know, because you're right. Now that you say that, I'll go back and listen to that part.
It up. I mean, or why would my kid make it up?
Yeah, no, and the fact that there's multiple kids who experience that, it's not just your daughter making this up. There's like multiple kids that got the phone call.
It's a rabbit hole sometimes when you're not getting anything from the police and things aren't adding up. I mean, 1 and 1 is making 12. Come on. It has to balance out. It has to make sense. And I can't help but think, if I was the parent, I'd be thinking nothing is making sense. And it's being taken all these places where probably it's just the simplest explanation is usually the explanation, right? In life. But there's a lot of things in it, a lot of lying. And these kids are lying like crazy. I can't believe they let them come home for Christmas. And that's what I said to them. I said, are you seriously sending my kid home for Christmas? I know I lose here, but if they're Greek on either campus, you keep them there. A SWAT killed the guy December 15th.
Yeah, Brent Kopaka.
So my son, he came downstairs the day that the affidavit came out with the probable cause, and he said, Mom, the map doesn't work. Like, the paint doesn't work. Wazoo is a walking campus. I think Moscow's you walk a lot in Moscow too, but so they know the roads and they know all of those things and where their phones work. And there's really no range in Pullman. I mean, there's more range in Moscow truly than there is in Pullman, but he spent like 15 to 20 minutes outside of the apartment where that guy was shot, where he supposedly lived, at the Coffee House Apartments. What was he doing?
How do I get out of this? All right, what part was that? Part 2?
Yeah, that was part 2.
Any comments on that after rehearing it, Phoenix?
Very interesting. What PCA, what probable cause came out that they had to go in with the SWAT?
I don't know.
I can't wrap my head around the fact that, because we all thought at 11:58, the roommates woke up, saw the carnage, called police. No, they were awake 4 hours earlier, and that is huge.
Wait, I don't think that's the same.
Why was there a warrant for Brent Kopaka? You know what? I wonder if the PCA was in Washington.
I bet it was.
I bet it was.
I bet it was. That seems to be the only part that I can find. Oh no, here it is.
He spent like 15 to 20 minutes outside of the apartment where that guy was shot, where he supposedly lived, at the Coffee House Apartments. What was he doing there? Was he picking him up? And I don't think he worked for Pullman's. He was security. I thought he worked in tech at UI Tech, or the tech department at University of Idaho. But I could be wrong there too. They changed the story. They changed the person after the first day of putting it out. But why did he want to kill his roommates? And why was he living with 2 students if he's 38 and not a student? And
such a simple question.
Yes, but you know who else works at the U of I? Per their LinkedIn.
And are you saying in related
and
to
in
Brent?
And in tech. Did they work together? Did Steve and Brent work together?
Oh my God.
If they both worked at the U of I?
See, that's something where it's like, again, that would be such a mind fuck.
It was on his LinkedIn. It was still on there. He says he works at the U of I.
Jeez. That's a good catch. Who knows? Who knows? While this plays, I got to pee. So I'm going to let it play. When I come back, I'll pause it. And Phoenix,
Okay.
if you got anything.
And is this Brian guilty actually, but going to get off because he's going to turn it on him? Because I think he's got something up his sleeve.
It's just, I can't wrap my head around the fact that, because we all thought at 11:58, the roommates woke up, saw the carnage, called police. No, they were awake 4 hours earlier, and that is huge. That's not in the affidavit.
Yeah, when I called her, when we got the alert at 5 o'clock, and I called her, my husband called, and she had all of she knew, right? And I think it hadn't sunk in what had happened yet, so she was giving it to me fresh, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she knew. She'd known since, 10.
Since 10.
Was gone by around 9, between 8 and 9, 10, somewhere in there, because I never saw her. But she supposedly was there. And this is a narrative she fed to my daughter and to whatever friend group she sent it to in Snap. And I don't know. I assume everybody else got one too. But I think they were creating a narrative. And I feel it more so because of what they had put on too. And it was on Twitter, I think, where they had posted it. But I think it's gone. And I did not screenshot it, which I wish I would have. I don't know if you can pull Twitter back. I think they can pull everything back, but the consistency is that I think there are kids on there that are trying to say this is something different than it's coming out as, but I think they're really afraid. You know, people have to start talking.
And with Hudson Lindo, so I had one.
Anything?
Okay, so someone said they have some information. I send 2 video warrants for Kopaka. Does anybody know why there were warrants for Kopaka? Because I feel like this portion of it, this part of it, is just like that car that they found in Eugene. Oh no, it's nothing. Don't look there. Look over there.
Okay, we will read that email that I just got after this. So, it's going back to the don't look here, look there. Go into that more, Phoenix.
Well, here's what I mean. Don't look here. You have to understand Kopaka's history. He was in the airborne. He was he was a ranger, but he was a paratrooper. Paratroopers are normally given as part of their gear a K-bar, if not even something better. And that's where a Glock is the other option that they give them, because those 2 weapons will be used in any type of battle, emergency shoot opening, anything of that nature. Those are given to you. So it's either one or the other. That's why I said if Dylan, if she indeed saw someone in the house with what looked like a vacuum cleaner attachment, that could have not been a K-bar. It could have been a Glock.
Yes.
And that when I say a Glock, it is an actual weapon. It is not a pew pew. Go look it up. Not a lot of people know what they are.
Yeah.
Only military would know which ones that they give out. Anyways, Kopaka is the guy that they went at Wasu and basically swatted him. They allegedly showed up because he was threatening people. However, I did hear that there might have been a warrant or some type of PCA filed, which Kim here says it again. And now it kind of confirms and validates for me personally that maybe this was accurate. But if there was one, we've been looking in Idaho when in fact it might exist in Washington.
I mean, how long would something like that take to dig on?
I mean, it depends. Some people say that they've got some information. So, stuff like that is very hard to find unless it was sealed. And he is, in fact, already categorized as a protected person. A protected person in this manner would be a veteran that does have a Purple Heart, that does have PTSD, any type of disability related to in-service connection. So they would be typically a protected person. So that means that if you called the police department or a courthouse, they would not give you any information.
Gotcha. Someone said they just emailed me or they just sent me it, and I'm wondering email. So again, I'm gonna
pin your email again so they can send it directly to you while we're live.
Yep. So, and then again, this is at it's not going to let me pin it. Why? One of my mods pinned the Birdie Bombshell 00, and then it's at gmail.com. It's just easier for you guys to email me it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, just put it in and then have somebody else pin it. You can do a Freedom of Information Act, a FOIA, but unfortunately with that, since they are still a protected individual, so whether or not he perished or he's in WITSEC, you will not be able to get any information on him. However, if my spidey senses are accurate and I can get somebody that I know through my connections, boots on the ground, to verify, I do have a lead in Iowa.
That's interesting.
And that's very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, shit. All right. Well, let's continue through this. I don't know if it's only 3 parts or 4 parts. Chat, type a 1 if this is okay, I just got a warning. I can't stand that.
What'd you get one for?
I didn't even look at it. I usually just let's see.
And the odd thing about that is they did not give him any honors. They did not have any special ceremonies for him passing. His parents have kept very quiet. And so that tends to make me believe that there's something more.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, it says your live's not eligible because of search results. I'm appealing it. 1 second, chat.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to keep this going.
One of his friends messaged me because I made a video about Hudson, and like everyone saw that video, and I was just talking about, you know, his case and spreading awareness. She messages me and says, just to let you know that this has nothing nefarious to it. It has nothing to do with Sigma Chi. He tripped and fell on a rock and hit his head.
Oops.
And passed out in the creek. But I went to that creek because I went to Moscow a second time. But there's like trees and bushes along the side of it. It doesn't really make sense to me.
Where was he going? For the shortcut.
I don't know. Like, I have no idea. I think he was just leaving the frat and going home.
He's not the first one to die in that creek.
So you've heard about...
I think another boy died in 2015. But I could have the date wrong. But I believe another boy did. I certainly want them to have peace. And I don't want this guy to get off. And I'm really very concerned that he's going to have enough evidence to at least postpone.
Yeah, and his attorney, like, she seems to be a pretty good one because she, like, freed this other guy that was in jail.
I don't know how he got her. She's probably the best in the 5-state area. Forensic investigator is probably one of the best in the nation. How does that happen?
But if it wasn't for you, none of us would have known about this period of time in the morning where multiple people knew what had happened before the 911 call was made.
Well, the police know about it because they've known since the 13th when I called them. They are now the world's children. They did not deserve this.
Yeah.
And we're stuck with the scumbags, and we lose these beautiful lights. That's just unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Yeah.
So I will do everything I can, and it's just, you know...
Exactly.
It's just, well, you're the one doing the hard work. You're out there doing it. And I would call you an investigator, and I would get my PI's license if I were you, because I find you to be very, very effective.
Oh, thank you.
Dateline in 2020, I just thought I'm looking at a bunch of lying kids who need to be in a timeout until they decide to tell the truth. Like, didn't your parents tell you not to lie? You are liars. Our interview was, like, real. It was a documentary. It was real. It really was. It was really nice to see, you know.
Thank you.
And everybody grieves differently, you know. I mean, some people are quiet in grief and people, you know, aren't. And it's really hard to... I mean, I cannot believe the police arrested Xana's mother 3 days after she died because she had a warrant. Come on, guys. Sometimes this woman just lost her child. Don't
see, or is that because they confirmed, holy shit, this might be related to when you flipped and put people in jail and they got out?
Possible, because she did get a good plea deal. Remember, Ann Taylor was her attorney on record. At the time, she did have to recuse herself, or they assigned her to BK as his attorney, but she did get eventually a plea deal with very little time served. And I believe that was one of the first that you'll see in this progression turn to possible informant, because there were several that had been arrested on rug charges, and then all of a sudden they had really good deals and no time, and then you start looking at the bigger picture, because then they take the middleman down, and then shortly after that, just last week, they take the big guy in the organization down.
Yep. And so for the people that don't know, this is how crazy this is. Ann Taylor, who is defending Brian Kohberger, was defending Xana's mom. So think about how weird that is, that the person who's defending the suspected unaliver of someone's daughter was defending that unalived daughter's mom. And how weird is it that Xana's mom gets arrested 3 days after this all goes down, gets a really cushy plea deal, as Phoenix stated, could be the first informant that's flipped. You have to be able to start to put these together in your mind, because this, if you can't see that it's something bigger going on by now, like the 3 days after, and they're like, come on, just let her grieve. Well, the narrative worked. Because people don't assume that it's a bigger op. So they're like, that's just bullshit. How do you do that? Let her grieve. Well, what if they're like, dude, that could be related to what her mom flipped and then gave us the information. It could be revenge. It could be anything. It's like, The feds,
Exactly.
they can disguise shit. They can make it look like it's something. They have the power to do that.
Exactly. So then they go and arrest her 3 days after her daughter's passed, but somebody else was also on furlough that was put away for dealing and that was connected to this. And that person was out on visiting with family because somebody was passing in their family, and someone did not keep very good eye on this guy.
Yeah, I agree.
And we should have a list of alternative suspects, non-suspects, alternative non-suspects.
Like who
that
it couldn't
possibly
be?
Well, we already know that Emma and Demetrius had absolutely beautiful plea bargains, especially when they were charged with the unaliving of the kid that was OD'd that found some stuff out because he was the president of his frat and he was doing investigative journalism work, and I think he found out some things he shouldn't have learned, and then he mysteriously was checked out of the hospital and then OD'd. And then Emma and Demetrius got amazing plea deals. I mean, this is not the first or the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth person I found connected that got some amazing plea deals. And then now today, fast forward it 2 years later, they've taken out the middleman and the big kahuna. So this bigger story that we're watching here has something to do with it.
And you guys have to remember that Ann Taylor is not just any attorney, right? Like,
No.
I think she was chosen to defend
Yes.
Santa's mom, knowing that when Koberger, however many weeks later, gets arrested, would then go over there. She's going to get everything she can under attorney-client privileges with Xana's mom and what the possible connection could be. Then Xana's mom's not going to retain her so that there's no conflict of interest. She's then going to be able to go switch to Brian Koberger and then be the defense for him. That's the only way that that could work with it's not being a conflict of interest, I believe.
Absolutely. And not only is she DP certified, but she actually got someone off on the DP. She actually had a case where he was not guilty.
Yeah. Yep. That has to be it. Like, I've always said that. I'm like, Ann Taylor was chosen. She was placed because she knows she either knows what's going on or she's been involved in cases like this and knows how this type of stuff works and how the system operates when there's an operation going on in the background. She knows to keep the person quiet. She knows to leak things that aren't going to, I guess, mess with the larger thing going on. And if you look at the way that she's handled it, it's been exactly that.
But if you look at the documents, not only are they requesting Brian's cryptocurrency history.
Oh, yes. This is
but they are, yes, but they are asking for bank records on everyone in this case. So if you're involved in a case, they can ask for your financial information. If you're not part of a case, they can't ask. They can go and subpoena, but they have to have some evidence that you're connected to a case. And that's huge. So not only did they ask specifically for Koberger's cryptocurrency history information, they've asked for certain individual victims' information.
Yes. And chat, unfortunately, that appeal was not approved for the FYP. I don't want to end it. I'm not going to end it. But if you guys just share it, that'll be fine.
Yeah, and definitely don't tag FYP in the comments.
Yeah. So it's because of the apparently search thing that I did. I don't know. So I never know with this. I never know. It seems to happen to me all the time.
We'll just keep shopping at TikTok Shop.
Yes.
I like TikTok Shop. I don't know about you. Have you tried it?
Well, somebody actually gave me a recommendation for me to open up a TikTok Shop. This is actually, they said that if I put like 2 or 3 products and list them, they could be random, that the, whatever they call it, the restrictions, they won't do it for that.
Yeah, you'll be a little bit
more. So I might have to look into that.
Yeah, definitely try that. I did just so I wouldn't have to be bananaed. But when you begin to look at the bigger picture and the players involved in this picture, you have to understand the background of each and every individual player and where they fit. And once you understand that, then you can see at a higher level. I just figured if we shared at a lower level, then you can see the next progression of the higher level.
I totally agree with that. It's kind of like you have to crawl before you can walk. You have to walk before you can run. It's kind of like how
Yeah.
I talked about where, like my sister-in-law, love her. She's awesome. She's super fun and cool. Was like, oh, so like, what's the craziest conspiracy that you've heard of? And she's like, let's talk about the Denver airport. And I'm like, okay. So we're gonna start as an infant. We can't even crawl yet. So, and that's fine. It's just like, again, you got to be able to, and that's what I enjoy these for, is people are curious, people want to know, people have an open mind. And I'd like to think that not just for this case, but for just in general, like how your brain shouldn't take everything at face value is important.
Absolutely. Ask questions. And if it looks funny, it probably is. Now, this is a great question I want to answer from the chat. Do they have Coke can cameras? Abso-freaking-lutely, they do. They have the wall cams. They have the bear cams. They have, lapel cams. They have every type of cam you can think. They have fake cameras that are cameras. They have so many, and you go to the spy shop, you can look at anything. Yes, there are Coke can cameras. However, that soda that Joe is holding all night long at Grub Truck, I physically saw Joe, the cashier, take it right out from under the cooler he's sitting on, out of the ice cold cooler. And then they have a separate cooler for water. I think that was just a can of Coke he was holding the entire night, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. I know they exist. You know what I mean? I guess I'd say that. Like, I know that technology, like you said, Phoenix, like, it exists. I would say like that shit's been exposed big time, like in Airbnbs and stuff. They'll have that everywhere.
But if he was given a cold can of Coke on a cold night, I surely wouldn't put it in my pocket or my pants. He didn't even open it the entire time until after he was done eating. So is it mysterious? It's a little sketchy. I guess you'd have to be like questioning the motive to want a camera there when he had eyes clearly on Kaylee the minute she stepped in the scene, gave Molly the note to give to Kaylee, and then he realizes Kaylee has left and he sends somebody to go after her to watch her. I don't know if you guys caught all that at the Grub Truck.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, the only person that I've seen put something out that really, in my mind, I was like, oh shit, maybe it is, was that only available at not available.
Yeah. So, that Grubhub truck video is key because that's the last place that Maddie and Kaylee were seen. And it makes you question what went down. There was a lot of eyes on Kaylee and Maddie, and you have to look and see who those eyes specifically were on them. And who is this Joe guy? I know he doesn't want to be talked about or bothered or anything like that, but who is this guy? He doesn't look like college aged, but he's talking to the guy in the hoodie that's following the girls for quite some time, like they know each other. And that is the same guy that Maddie turns around and starts yelling F you and made the front of the local newspapers because she was yelling at him at the Grub Truck.
I got it right here. I'm so glad. Oh, is that only the image of it? I could have swore.
And definitely
Phoenix.
look at the chat. We all know a creeper. Yeah. Possibly if I don't think Joe is a Fed. I don't I can't say for sure, but the whole thing, you just have to really watch them. You can watch it when Joe steps out to see if Molly's coming so he can hand her the note.
You guys, chat, you want to dive into that a little bit, see if we can see something? It's a good pickup, Phoenix.
Yeah, right.
Let me see if I can just find the full stream. All right. Here we go.
So you want to go around, I don't know which one you're on, but you want to go around the 3, it's a 4 hours. So around 3:21, I suppose.
Okay. I want to make sure the chat can see this. I gotta say, this is probably of all the stuff that we look into, like this one to me is like, I know that there's gonna be stuff that you can dig into every time you look at it, you know? Like the audio is a little bit different. I like this that you actually can see. All right.
You got it. 5 cheese, bacon, $10. Truck A. Absolutely can. Excellent choice. Anything else for you?
Can I get just the... I'll have the mac of fire, please.
Pants are the way.
Alright, do you want mac?
Yeah. 1 Coke. It's going to be 9 Coke. Two? Yeah. What is a life beater? I've never heard that. Ever. How are you doing, man?
Hey, brother.
Excellent.
Can I get the... Let's do the 5 cheese. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a straight 5 cheese?
No, I'll do 2 of those.
2? Yeah, you got it, man.
Are you guys doing burritos right now?
Yeah. Everything. We got everything. We're not out of anything. Whoever floats your boat.
Brother, do you want tacos? I got you.
Dude, Paloozers, insulated pants are the way.
Alright, do you want mac? Do you want mac and cheese? I'm literally so true. Alright, that's it.
Okay.
And
2
then,
5
2
cheese?
drinks.
And 2 drinks?
Yeah.
What would you like?
Did he say insulated cans are the way?
Yeah, something to that effect.
Dude, Paloozers, insulated pants are the way.
Alright, do you want mac?
Insulated pants.
Yeah, yep.
Do you want mac and cheese? I'm literally so true. Alright, that's it.
Okay.
And
2
then,
5
2
cheese?
drinks.
And 2 drinks?
Yeah.
What would you like?
Coke, Zero, root beer, Sprite.
He said Coke Zero. That's offensive. You gotta get on that diet.
Coke, Zero, Sprite, root beer, what do you want?
I say Coke.
I don't want anything to drink. Okay, water.
Yes.
2 waters?
Water. No, 1 water, 1 Coke.
1 water, 1 Coke.
No cheese? Got it. I got it right here for you.
2 5 cheese, 1 water,
Yeah.
1 Coke. It's gonna be $19 for you. Oh yeah, man.
Oh shit, where's my wallet? That's my pocket. I'm good.
Oh, well, you did. And then, don't worry. And then I looked over Reddit and went, oh, okay.
Good catch, Phoenix.
Yeah, and then he hands the water.
Because I saw it. I think I saw it earlier.
I don't know how much is here, but let's see.
All right, no cheese?
I'm excited to
It
find
is
out.
right there for you.
We'll do this minus from that, and then the rest I'll do on my card.
Okay, done. Yeah, split.
I think he was
wait.
actually reading. He was actually reading the menu to the people behind him. He was ordering for also. So when he said Coke, Coke Zero, he read off water.
Hey, did you hear that? I agree.
Which one?
Phoenix. I do agree with you. He was reading that off. Did you hear like the no cheese? Okay, yep. Who says that?
At a mac and cheese place.
No,
no cheese for what?
No, but hang on. I'm actually asking like on the camera. Who says that? It's like someone's taking the order, but it's like, where does that come from?
Oh, okay.
Was it the stream?
Because I saw.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
One of the
I think I saw it earlier.
I don't know how much is here, but let's see.
All right, no cheese?
That.
Oh, at the bottom of the screen, those cooks right there.
That's the guy that's saying that. He's like, all right, no cheese.
No cheese.
Okay.
Saw it earlier.
I don't know how much is here, but let's see.
All right, no cheese?
I'm excited to
It
find
is
out.
right there for you.
We'll do this minus from that, and then the rest I'll do on my card.
Right there for you.
Here, but let's see.
All right, no cheese?
I'm excited to
It
find
is
out.
right there for you.
Are you guys sure his lips are moving? Am I losing my mind? Chat, you can tell me.
It might be the guy. It might be the guy handing the food out way in the back. Do you see him? At the back of the truck, is he handing food out to someone?
Let's see.
We'll do this minus from that, and then the rest I'll do on my card.
Okay, done. Yeah, split.
It's like $12. Yes, I'm gonna put some in the
Thank you, your burrito.
Thank you.
It's been
$12, so it's just gonna be
$5?
$5.
Like that?
Once I clear, yeah, it should just be $5. Just,
17, right?
yep. Or no, it's 19.
Oh, okay.
Because it's 16 for the 2 max, and then each drink is $1.50.
Oh,
That's
gotcha.
19.
Thank you, brother. Give me another tip.
Thank you. Fucking thank you, man. Order 76.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What are your first 4 max?
Can I get the basil pesto?
All
Yeah,
5
definitely.
cheeses?
One basil pesto, $9.
1 ones?
How's your night going?
Good.
Just a
How's
lot
your
of
night
money.
going?
It's going extremely well. Cannot complain. I was able to sit down,
15s.
so.
And then they'll come to me.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
But, like, I hate dealing with fucking people, so.
Oh, it's pretty.
She's like, it's good. I've been dealing with fucking people though.
Okay, so if you want to fast forward it to where Joe is kind of looking around for the other girl to pull up.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's going. 3 to 4.
Thank you.
I was a warm Joe.
He went too far.
It's a be
Keep backing up. It's before Kaylee and Maddie arrive. It's about 3. Let me see. What time would that be?
Pork tacos. Oh yeah. How many pork tacos would you like?
Well, you know what? Just come with one.
It's 1, but there's. Would you like?
It was just interesting that she said like, "Oh, I've been dealing with some shit," you know. And then you see kind of the body language that we.
Yeah,
talked
but
about.
why did when she walks up? Why does he say hello again? You're back.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah. Were they there earlier?
I don't know.
The carbonara.
Okay.
I feel a massive.
But if I have like a free grub truck on my like app.
Oh, yep. So what you want to do is we'll actually do
I'm about
this.
to make you show. I'm going to show you your work in the gym. You're still light, motherfucker.
There you
Cool.
go.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
How many more do you need? That's the second one? Awesome.
Dawn's mom. Oh wait. Yeah, one.
Maybe I
Here.
didn't have a free one.
It's right here.
And then what was the mac?
Don't forget to remove the
The
spoon.
The
carbonara.
carbonara mac of the week.
Here, I'll grab it for you.
Excellent. And then click see rewards.
Enjoy.
And it looks like you do not quite have enough points yet.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
then you
$10
should-
for you.
Perfect.
I do have a big
Watch
burrito
Joe
pork
in the
here for you.
lower left-hand corner.
Cool. Thank you.
Order 78. Thank you very much. Where'd the pen go, guys? Where's my pen? How are you guys doing?
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I seem to have lost my pen, but that's fine. What can I get for you?
Can I get
Just 2 John's Roms?
cheese, mac and cheese, please?
Definitely.
I get
Thank you.
and pork tacos.
Hell yeah. How many pork tacos would you like?
Well, you know what? Just come with one.
It's 1, but they're like 6 to 7 ounce tacos. They're not like small little street tacos. I normally eat 2, 3 is a lot for me.
So one would be fine if I was getting.
Did you go too far?
Yeah.
I think we went too
Yeah.
far. Where did she walk in? Okay, so just go back a little bit.
Who walk in?
Molly. She's in a sweatshirt that it says Idaho.
I don't
She
think
has
it happened yet, did it?
She has a bag with her. I thought it happened right around.
I thought it was when the girls were kind of standing over here.
No, because then she goes up and hugs Kaylee, and Joe has moved over to the circle.
I don't
So-
think it happened.
Okay.
I don't think so because I know that she walks by and this dude in the jersey says something. That's who I was watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. What can I get for you?
Can I get
Just
the
2 John's Roms?
cheese, mac and cheese, please?
Definitely.
I get
Thank you.
and pork tacos.
Hell yeah. How many pork tacos would you like?
He got it in his pocket.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do, chat? I'm going to put this into here so that we can zoom in. Again, if anybody works for Canva and
Yeah, we'll tag him in all your videos.
yeah, I would love to not pay for premium Canva and I'll use them continuously every night for their stuff. Somebody just said, what if he switched Coke cans in his pocket?
Possible.
How's that look, Phoenix? Is it centered?
Perfect. Yeah, that's
Okay.
perfect.
All right. Now, where were we at in the video? 3:44:44.
And it looks like you do not quite have enough points yet.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
$10 for you.
Perfect.
So hang on, chat. Should I be watching the bottom left? Like, should I just zoom in on the bottom left, or what do you? Or these top two, these left two?
Left 2.
Okay.
I do have a big burrito pork here for you.
Cool. Thank you.
4078, thank you very much. Where'd the pen go, guys? Where's my pen? How are you guys doing?
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I seem to have lost my pen, but that's fine.
Trying to
What can I
look
get for
around
you?
the corner for the girl to come.
Cheese, mac and cheese, please.
Definitely.
I get
Thank you.
and pork tacos.
Oh yeah. How many pork tacos would you like?
Just come with one.
It's one, but they're like 6 to 7 ounce tacos. They're not like small little street tacos. I normally eat 2, 3 is a lot for me.
So one would be fine if I was getting pasta too, or
Yeah.
mac and cheese too.
Yeah, that's gonna be
I
all.
I got to move this down just a little bit. I want to make sure that I get it good.
Almost 2 pounds of food.
I better get two.
Okay, you got
I got
it. 2 pork tacos? Done.
For her
One
now.
5
You gotta
cheese, 1 basil
get ready to
pesto,
slow
2
it
pork
down.
tacos, $24.50 for you.
Thank you.
He's got it in his hand.
2 Don's bombs.
There she is. And he gives it to her, and she goes right over to Kaylee.
Two Don's bombs.
I'm going to go in on the bottom left one.
Perfect.
So did he already do it?
Yeah, when he looks over for her, he's got it in his hand.
Oh, that was
You gotta
quick.
go slow. You gotta go slow. Passes it to her. She puts her arm around Kaylee and hands it to her. And then you see Kaylee reading it a little bit later.
So I don't know.
It's a quick pass. I think it's a note because she has a note later in her hands. But he peers over, he's waiting on her. And that's why I said, why was it so important that he couldn't just text her?
I got it at 0.5.
Two Don's bombs.
Okay, damn it. That won't not pop up.
Thank you.
I'm just going to have to play it slow.
Two Don's bombs.
Shit. I'm sucking right now.
Two Don's bombs. Two Don's bombs. Two Don's bombs. Two Don's bombs. Shoot on bombs. Shoot on bombs. Bombs. Shoot on bombs.
That was slick as hell.
Yep. And then she puts her arm over Kaylee, and then Kaylee actually opens it up, and you see her trying to read what it says. I don't think it was Ruggs. I really don't think that, hopefully, it was right there. But she's over there opening the note, trying to read it, and you can see it on cam.
What is that going to also be the bottom left one?
Yeah.
Okay. So she.
But watch her demeanor as she reads it.
Let's go back one more time.
And it's not until probably, I don't know, maybe a few minutes before she leaves that she reads it.
And now you're saying that the girl who allegedly gets handed the note is going to give it to Kaylee.
Yes, she puts her arm around her and then gives her the note.
Okay. All right, let's watch. I went back to where she walks over.
Shoot on bombs.
Ooh, 79.
Thank you.
Thank you. People have fallen. I'm talking. People have fallen over your street. Sorry, I'm talking to Twitch stream. Oh, you're so good. Absolutely, thank you. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing extremely well. What sounds good?
Can I get a big burrito?
Yeah.
Please.
For the big burrito, would you like pork or chicken?
Chicken.
Got it. And then you said a Mountain Dew?
Yes, please.
Excellent. Big burrito chicken and a Mountain Dew. We're gonna do $11. And a Mountain Dew?
Yes, please.
Excellent. Big burrito chicken and a Mountain Dew. We're gonna do $11. There's Mountain Dew and
I mean, I know that we don't really talk about Joe much, but Molly just brought up, or Robin just brought up, you know, if Joe was undercover, could that have just been like a tap, like, hey, give her the note?
Probably. I mean, it's possible. Anything is.
Yeah.
And I know Mike might be in here, and he is like the guru of the grub truck.
This shit is sus as hell. Yeah. Whoever just said that in the chat, Lori.
Yeah.
What the
out in a wife beater?
Hell.
Yeah.
You know, again.
But see,
oh, go ahead.
But did you notice how Joe's demeanor is? He's watching her specifically.
Yep. She didn't go and give him the note yet, did she?
No, she has the note. She has the note.
Order 80.
Oops. Go ahead, Phoenix. Sorry, I clicked it on accident.
She's gonna be reading it. Watch.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I need 2 chicken burritos with extra slaw.
2 chicken burritos with extra. $19 for it.
I know I have a $6 waiting for me. Would like to just
Okay. Awesome.
so.
Let's see reward.
Oh, fuck, I just hit your jack. Sorry, man.
Fuck yeah.
$13. Hell yeah.
Worth it.
Oh, always. Order 81.
Thank you.
Thank you. Extra
So the girl's right
is
here.
that charge? No, it's not charge. It's just modifier. Hello.
They have Apple Pay.
How's
We
Jack
have
going?
Apple Pay, right?
Of course we do.
Of course you have Apple Pay. Yes. Hi, camera. Okay. Chicken taco.
I know this is slow motion, but it's like, did that seem like, what? You have Apple Pay? Of course he's got Apple Pay. Hi, camera. Like they know that this dude takes some sort of like payment, like Apple Pay or anything else for like the other shit they stream. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but yeah, when I heard that, I was like, well, then he explains the payments, right? What he has.
Yeah.
Chicken taco. You got it.
I'll do the 5 cheese mac and cheese.
18 you got.
But the guy in the
Okay.
hooded sweatshirt talks to
5.
him for a long time.
You got it. So I have a chicken taco and 3 5 cheese mac and cheeses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
$27.75.
Hey. Hey.
The note.
How many apples in the Mac of the week? 0, TJ. 0.
Don't let him lie to you.
Order 82. Thank you.
Someone said they just heard the note.
Just put it back in her pocket. I don't know if you caught that.
Order 82. Thank you.
We already got it 5 cheese mac.
Wait, you got it?
Yeah. Come on.
Oh my god.
Damn it. It's back a little bit more. So.
0.
Hey!
How many apples in the max of the week? 0, TJ. 0. Order 82. Thank you. Back a little.
Yeah.
3.
Warm Joe.
The old car. Time to start.
Feel warm, Joe.
The old car. It's been a while since this engine started. Let's see
That's that
if it
freaky one.
starts.
Yeah.
The.
Okay, chat. If you haven't heard this before, and Mike, go ahead and request. My bad, I clicked X on accident. Okay. We were talking about how that if and Mike's gonna come up, he can talk to this. There is events and screen names that line up with the screen names and the sounds that are made and the stuff that they talk about via the Twitch stream lines up with events that have happened throughout the night. One of the things that we started talking about was like they talked about how Kaylee allegedly had like 50 something wounds. And I was like, this freaking audio is so trippy and we never slowed it down. I swear to God, if there's 54 or 57 V's, however many were the wounds, I would lose my shit. And we tried to count it, but we never had it on slow motion. So as that plays, I'm going to count. But you guys should, if you guys could too, that'd be great. Mike, what's going on, my guy?
How are you doing? I just wanted to point out a couple of things because the focus should be on when the guy in the weird poncho comes in.
Yep.
There's a woman with him with a matching poncho. Like my friends and I call him the Sacra Priest. And there's a lot of debate around who that person is. And some people say it's Eden Harsh, but I'm not really sure. But the guy in the robe has a woman with him. So you should take notice of them and take notice of his order. He orders 2 dogs' moms. It's not on the menu.
That was back a little bit, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot that happens. They're preparing it and they joke about it. You can hear the cooks saying, 2 dogs' moms coming up or something like that, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So
being zoomed in is hard.
And then he says right when there's another guy that comes in and they take an order from a woman who looks like Emma Bailey. People used to say that's Emma Bailey ordering. And that's when the manager says, people have fallen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like,
yep.
It's the subtlety clues that you'll find interesting.
Okay. I want to count the V's quick. And then, like I said, Mike, you and I, we got to do a deep dive on this. And Phoenix, what are the odds that it comes out to be that many V's as it is wounds?
We tried to count them, but if we go in slow, we might be able to get a better count.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got another warning. That's why I want to just do this.
The started. Let's see if it starts. The V V V V V V V V V V V V V V V Oh great, the battery is dead.
I tried my absolute best to make a tick mark for each one. So I'm going to add these up.
And notice how they say the battery is.
Yeah. Let me see here. Five, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. I got 52. I missed some clearly.
Yeah, I had to miss some because I got 54.
Yeah. Okay. Chat. Just as a reminder, if you guys have not subscribed on YouTube, Birdie Bombshells, that is where the full live streams are found. I think that going through Kim's call, watching this, reminder, if you have stuff that needs to be dove into for the chat, birdiebombshell00 at gmail.com. Birdiebombshell birdiebombshell00. I'm typing in the chat 00 at gmail.com. Now, that when you guys email me, it's much easier. I want to read something that was interesting that I did get from this, and it talks about somebody emailed me. She's like, I found this on Criminal Mindhole's Instagram, and it says, and he's been in our chat before. And he puts out some good stuff, but this was on his Instagram. While all you people feel sad for DM, let me help you out. Her and her man are involved. They helped clean up and they lied. She was out the next night with Bridget and Ashlyn after the unalivings, laughing about what was done to Kaylee. Won't get into the details. Laughing about how she suffered and pleading for her life. Laughing about how they won't be able to recognize them, etc. You get the point. DM hated her dog. She used to kick him when Kaylee wasn't around. She wanted her unalive. Do you people not get it? I'm not trying to be rude. I'm so frustrated. I lived in Moscow, went to the same college, and I'll just say was close enough to know what I'm talking about. I moved out of Moscow when we became aware BK was indeed innocent 100,000%. DM is not a victim. She hated Kaylee and Maddie. I'm talking now because I no longer live in Moscow. I'm sick and tired of people excusing her. My God, if you guys only knew the truth. They were all laughing because they know the chief has their back. I probably misspelled a lot. I'm extremely angry and frustrated because I feel like the truth has to come out, but nobody else believe it. That, I think, was posted by the dude who runs that profile himself, if I'm not mistaken. And that was how he started it. He said, I moved out. I need to expose this. I need to get the truth. Now, everybody can take that with a grain of salt. We don't know what we don't know. But I am curious, and we said this the other day, where were Dylan and Bethany the entire night? Because there's no accounting of them. It's the same way with Ethan and Xana. And it is interesting. We speculate, were they at a hotel room?
There was
Go ahead.
I kind of had that feeling when, I don't know if you know the story about Hannah. There is a story there. And when they did that video the roommates made of like kind of like acting like each other, I kind of had a feeling that someone didn't like the dog because they picked that topic about the dog. And I kind of saw the mean girl persona, but passing it on benefit of the doubt, saying they're a victim, when typically in any investigation, the last people to see the victim is typically the suspect, but we didn't see it here. And I
just look like, you know what, Phoenix, did you cut out or did you stop?
No, I stopped.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, one of the things that it goes without being said that nobody is saying that we want BK or anybody who did this to get away with it. I am a little bit sick and tired though, if I could just let it rip here, about when you hear other people talking about this. There's so much fear around like the forbidden, maybe the roommates were involved. Guys, that's not a stretch. You could say stop victim shaming. It's not victim shaming. It's a little bit weird. It's weird enough that it should be okay to question. It's weird enough that you didn't call 911 for 8 hours. It's weird enough you walked by your roommate when she was passed out on the floor. It's weird enough that you described it as an unconscious person. Then we hear you on the 911 call, walk inside and go, is she passed out? It's weird enough that we hear Ethan's name also on the 911 call. It's weird enough that there's been no leaked footage of anybody's leaving that house. There's no leaked files in a super high profile case. It is not wrong to question, did the two people that survived have involvement? Especially when they saw the unaliver, they gave the description. That entire timeline's based around their encounter with them. And I've said this so many times, but it's like, if a husband or a wife, or if somebody goes missing or is unalived, you clear the people in the house first. And in this case, the person in the house that they're trying to clear, people are doing mental gymnastics to clear her based on she's apparently this child who needs to be coddled when there was an unaliving and a homicide. And I just can't get my mind wrapped around how it's not a little bit weird of what she's doing. And I think that if people could wrap their head around it, maybe some more stuff would come out.
Right. They're connected to some pretty influential people. But if you have enough to stomach a cleanup, something is not right.
Exactly. And this is such a technicality. And I'll probably take flack for it, but whatever. I'll take flack for it because I've, you guys know, like, I will say what I'm thinking. It's not meant to be disrespectful, but it's like, are they survivors or are they witnesses? They weren't attacked. They weren't even around, apparently. They were downstairs, locked in a room, hiding. The guy never made an aggressive move at him. And it's not to victim shame, but it's just like an actual question. Like, are they survivors or are they witnesses? Survivors would be somebody that probably lived through the attack and was attacked and maybe suffered some wounds, or even if they didn't, was like right there and escaped. They didn't escape. They didn't run away. They went on Instagram. They went on Indeed. They called everybody else. They called their friends over. You heard W.S. Kim's phone call about that between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Everybody was there. It is, I'm sorry, it's unbelievable. And I've said this, actually, my wife said this in the beginning of the live when Mrs. Birdie was on. It's like, it's not trying to say if it was male or female, but I am curious, like, if it was men in that house, would they get the same victim? Like, oh, they were terrified. They were terrified. No, they'd probably get called pussies, probably. Honestly, I don't know. I'm sorry for that language.
And they could have called 911 at any time, but who did they call? They called their parents of influence. What do we do? And this is just all alleged, but I could hear, what do we do? Now what do we do? Wait, let me call. Hey, I know a dude named Brian. Let me call and see what we need to do. I could hear that. I could hear one of them say, how could we clean this up to not be in trouble? How do we have some people come over and help?
And like, again, if it's not that, and let's say that, like I've said, I asked this last night, and it's like, who would you lie for in a situation like that? Well, you'd lie for somebody that you love, and that's even debatable, depending on how heinous and where you stand and why maybe that happened to that person. Or it's because you have no other choice for your own safety.
Yeah, but like I said, if they knew that somebody else would take the fall, then they don't have to speak out. They would deny the fact, I don't want to come to court. I don't want to be a witness.
Right. And that goes back to, why did Bethany fight testifying with or what were we reading last night? Was it testifying against Koberg or whatever it was? And it's just like for her
in defense.
In defense of it. It's like, well, okay, so but either way, if it's really just that one guy and nobody else is involved, he's behind bars, and if he gets convicted, he's going to be dead. So what do you mean for your own safety? Well, he has to be connected to something bigger then, even on the most simple level.
Correct. That's why I said, was he an advisor? Did he advise people how to clean up this mess? Did he get called in to take a look at the mess and figure out how to clean it up and get them out of it? Because they did not want this operation compromised.
Man.
Well, I think we're right to call it an operation. I mean, look at how many people are cracking jokes and giving coded language. The linguistic leaks are phenomenal. There's so many. There's like 5 just in this little part you've watched.
Yeah. And it's and the part that kind of drives me up a wall with when like things that like what Mike just said about the linguistics or the symbolism. Guys, we do it every day with our friends and people we know. You could call it an inside joke. You could call it a phrase of speech, but it's like, if I'm like, again, on the simplest level, like, oh, the cat's out of the bag, everybody knows what I mean by that. So it's not hard. It's not as hard, and people don't have to be as creative as you think. It's like when you're trying to be shady and you want to talk in code, I would even say you could do it non-verbally. Like if you're with your buddies at the bar and somebody walks by that you're trying to like talk to or whatever it is, like you give them like the side eye, like look at your friend, and they like know exactly what you're saying. I don't think it's as hard as what people think.
Or no.
Well, the other thing I wanted
to say, hey, we were on some trippy rugs that night, and oh my God, it got out of control.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to know, and I think you guys do too, what was in the note? Kaylee freezes. People were saying in the comments when you went through that part, we don't. I'm surprised Molly didn't speak up and say, yeah, I handed her a note that said Ethan and Xana are in big trouble. And they're hurt.
Well,
really
I think
bad.
the shakedown. I think it was the shakedown. Something was going to go down. So then, who is Joe? What is his role in all this?
Right.
I have no idea. I think it's been a bit of almost a red herring. Everybody's been focused on him so much, but Molly hands her that note, and there's a behavior change in Kaylee.
Joe hands the note to Molly, then Molly hands the note to Kaylee.
Oh, okay.
Joe's fiddling around with the note in his pocket for a little while, looking for Molly, and then he sees Molly coming, passes it off. If you go in really slow mode and blow it up, you'll see it clear as day. And then Molly goes and hugs Kaylee to the side and puts it in her hand.
So what do you think is on that note?
Well, that's why I have this video pulled up. I tried to do this before. I'm glad that it popped up this time. I'm not trying to go down a bunch of different angles, but it's like, if it was like a threat, and if it was a sea ganger for whatever it is, like this dude got handed a note that said he was going to be unalived after the concert, and it ended up happening.
The clock is ticking.
Because the first time I tried to show this a couple weeks ago, it didn't happen. But I would guess it has to be some sort of thing that they didn't want a digital trail for, to Phoenix's point about why not just text them. You probably don't want a paper trail. I don't know what else it could be.
Someone said, look at Joe's interview. Anybody know where that would be?
How do you spell his last name again?
Vidot.
Vid.
And while you do that, I'm going to go look up something.
Okay. Is this it right here? At the top? Inside Edition video.
That's it. Because nobody else is going to figure out anything. But I came on here for one specific reason. I had a major question, Joe. I haven't seen anything of the corner club. People are sitting out here determining all this shit, but nobody knows what happened in that club. They don't know who those girls came in with. They don't know who they associated with. You know, they don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? They only know what you told them. That's it. And I can see your point too. You know what I mean? Drunk people should watch where they're going. Yeah. You know, but it's a bar, you know what I'm saying? But still, I'm not looking at you as a bad person because of that. You know, I could look at you and tell you're not a friggin' cold-hearted killer, man. No way.
Paul, so the other day I went to Corner Club, and actually my buddy Hayden, who's the dude with the Christmas sweater in the video, he was there, and we were just talking. I was like, Hayden, I was like questioning myself. So I was like, bro, I haven't seen you in person since that night. I was like, do you remember when we were, am I right? Was I right? We're at Corner Club. Did that not happen? Did she not bump into us while we were talking? Because him and I were like,
him?
it's like,
oh, she should have said.
Hang on.
So he's about 35.
Is that him though? Thank you. This one.
That's him.
Okay.
The one you were just above.
Thank you for people who said bless me.
You get one?
Okay, before I start this, is this the right video? Fuck. It's not. Okay. This one. Yes, I'll make it bigger. Yes, okay.
November 23rd article from the Daily Mail. This is about food truck guy, tan hat guy as we know him. His name is Joe Vito. He's made some comments on Plunder's TikTok. He's also made some comments on Conspiracies channel. And so we're going to look at his TikToks right after this. The reason I'm quickly going to go over this section is in case anyone missed it, because I know there's been a lot of content on my playlist and all over the internet, so maybe you missed the coverage of it. So here they said, new details have now emerged about Consalves and Mogan's last night out from Joe Vito, a local man who saw the two co-eds out on the town and in the hours before the attack. Police had previously said that the women were partying at the Corner Club bar the night before the attack. Vito was also there and said that the women were catching the attention of many men at the bar. If you missed the episode where we looked inside the bar,
jump on Joe here. I just wanted to jump on this and make a video real quick and kind of just squash some stuff that I've been seeing. So first and foremost, I feel super awkward that I even have to make this video, but I've been like not really keeping track of all of the stuff that's going on with this investigation for those girls that were killed. And
whoa,
wow,
did you just hear that?
Yeah, rewind it. Dude owed somebody some money. He got a judgment in 2024 for $12,000.
Wow. I don't know if I heard what I thought I was going to hear, but
not really keeping track of all of the stuff that's going on with this investigation for those girls that were.
Wow.
This investigation for those girls that.
That's weird. That's a crazy, almost Freudian slip.
Play it in regular speed again.
He almost said grape.
I've been like not really keeping track of all of the stuff that's going on with this investigation for those girls that were killed.
Well, that
Oh shit! It's a voiceover.
is it? I was gonna say, or was he about to say rated? Hang on. Why did you think voiceover?
Oh, go read his lips. Watch the way his lips.
But I've been like not really keeping track of all of the stuff that's going on with this investigation for those girls that were killed, and
it was quick.
Yeah, that's weird.
I'll turn on the subtitles.
Stuff that's going on with this investigation for those girls that were killed, and to start off, like the very next day when they had announced the murders and when they had shown the photos, as soon as I saw the photos, I messaged the two people that were in that video that I was talking to, my neighbor and then another guy that we had met earlier that night who I thought was really cool. And we invited him to come with us to Grub Bus. And I was like, hey, weren't two of these girls at the Grub Bus with us last night? And they couldn't remember, but they were also very drunk and I was not. So
that was always a part of the narrative too.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end, before they leave the Grub, does scream at him for something. And I wonder if Kaylee had told Maddie, but Maddie was so drunk, or she was like, F you.
Could be. Could be for sure. He just looks much older than a college student.
He wasn't a college student.
Right. But I'm saying like
that from what I understood, that spot is for everyone to come and hang out, all walks of life, not just the college kids.
Right.
I did there's a drink called a Larry Craig. That's like a really popular drink over here. I did have one of those at Corner Club, but I mean, other than that, I was totally sober.
Hey, it's Tony Robbins.
It does just seem like a lot of unneeded details. And look, I'm playing Monday morning quarterback, so I don't want it to be like I get on here and I say a bunch of stuff. It's just like why the name of your drink? Why not just be like, yeah, you were sober. And he was at the Corner Club too. Interesting.
Over here, I did have one of those at Corner Club, but I mean, other than that, I was totally sober. When they confirmed that those were the girls, the only reason I knew that it was those girls was because I saw the video that said, oh, they were seen at this thing. Because I actually called the police right away and was like, hey, I think I might have information. I just need to know like what was one of the girls wearing, because I remember one of them had like pink, because the one that bumped into me at Corner Club was wearing pink. But nobody called me back from the police, and I was like, okay, they're probably just swamped with information, probably whatever. But then when the video came out and people were like, no, those were the girls, and those two people were like, dude, those were the girls, I was like, okay, I'm gonna physically go to the police station and talk to the police. I told the police.
I can, I guess, sort of wrap my head around. But what would the information be other than you saw them at a food truck earlier in the night? Do you know what I mean? Like, why is he so wanting to go down to the police station in person? I'm asking kind of
facetiously.
Thank you. Love you for that, Phoenix. You rock. Yeah, that word. Like, why? If you just saw them and they kind of bumped into you, what information?
But you have to.
Go ahead.
Let's put it in context. He's standing by an old friend of his he calls Hayden, and the girl is suspected of working at the Moscow Police Department. And they're all in a little circle hanging out. So why would he need to give Molly a note to give it to Kaylee? He's already connected. We're going to see it on the grub truck. We're going to see it on the cameras later on. He already knows this for a fact.
Yeah, is he inserting himself?
Or was he part of it?
Yeah, is he right? Is he inserting himself or something to be like, no, I helped. I gave the tip. See, I even came in person.
Right.
I bumped it. I saw him at the corner club. Well, I mean, it's odd. Mike, any thoughts on the demeanor?
It's a little bit bizarre. I haven't seen this in 2 years. I thought it was, well, actually, I think this one is just from about a year ago, isn't it?
2 years ago. And we're sticking with that theme of going back and looking at the stuff for right after the crime. And it's been interesting, just kind of with what we know now, because I think a lot of people, when the court documents started dropping with the text messages and the 911 call, like that's kind of all everybody focused on. But now it's like, well, let's go back now that we know that.
Yeah, because he knows that we're going to take a look at the grub truck.
Right.
He knows that clearly you can see that they're more connected than they're saying.
I would agree.
Everything I saw, which is different than what I think is going out there right now, and with We're the Girls, I was like, okay, I'm going to physically go to the police station and talk to the police. I told the police everything I saw, which is different than what I think is going out there right now. And I was just waiting for food. I'm just like everybody else in town that waits for food.
Every person that's documented talking about this says that it's different than what happened when it's right after the case that's local.
Food at the grub bus. It does take a while. Everybody goes there. And so that was kind of the thing. It was like, no, if you're ending the night, you end it at grub bus. But other than that, I don't really have any like crazy information. I don't know why everybody's reaching out.
Yet you felt so compelled to go to the police station in person.
To me, I don't know why so many people are trying to spin things around. And so what I've decided to do is that I'm only commenting on things that are like ridiculous. So try and give clarity. But man, people are really turning this into something it's not. Sorry.
Well, you seem to know what it is, brother. Why don't you tell us?
Yeah, he's trying to keep the narrative on track.
Exactly.
I had to do this in two parts because there's a lot. And I'm also shivering. It's cold. And I'm in.
So he said it's dude, this is wild. This is, again, if you guys remember when I talked about there's no way that I could actually be a reporter, because I'm like, if I feel like I'm interviewing somebody and it's like, no, I'm asking you really clearly, like, what did you see? And it's like, well, I had different information than what they said was going on. I felt so compelled that I went to the police in person to talk about it. And it's like, guys, I don't even know that much information. I don't know why people are spinning it. And then it's like, oh, I need to do it in two parts because there's just so much. Like, I'd lose my mind. I'd be like, what is it?
Yeah, but if he didn't know anything, why did he take himself to the police department, right? And I did see him eat his food. He does get his food. He does stand around and eat his food. So obviously he went to the bar. He was seen there. He was seen on camera. But how could he not know that people would not catch what actually happened there? Yeah. Is that he was going there in trying to control the narrative to say, well, whatever you see, whatever truth you hear, it's not true.
Yeah. And somebody pointed out too, he just said he was cold. He's inside of a building.
Sorry, I had to do this in two parts because there's a lot.
Or is that a truck?
And I'm also shivering. It's cold. I'm in my truck.
Truck, yep.
Yeah. So I wanted to address a few things specifically. One being the news article that came out was the first person that I actually talked to with the news media.
If you're just a guy, but again,
why would you go on the news?
Oh my God. Or you're admitting that you were acting suspicious as hell.
Suspicious. Yep. And you know you're going to get caught eventually.
This is wild. Whoever suggested this, I haven't given out a top dog today. Shout out to the unknown top dog in the chat. The Hive Mind is, I'd like to have been calling the chat lately because it really is. So
I don't remember, and I didn't know anything about them, but this is what I know.
Annette May said it was them. Annette, is that your first top dog?
Woohoo! Go Annette. Yes, I think she recommended that we watch it.
Good job. Good job. We will keep going.
A lot of media outlets have reached out to me, and I've just ignored them because I just was like, man, I just was waiting for food. Like, I have nothing to add. I've given all the helpful information I can to the police. It would make zero sense for me to give any more information to random people. But these rumors that are going around were just like crazy. And I didn't have a bad vibe from the guy that people were dragging through the mud. I don't know if he did it or not. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I could speak to the vibe I got from him, which was all people really wanted to know at first anyways. And I thought he was fine. Now, the news outlet that I talked to, I could speak to the vibe I got from him, which was all people really wanted to know at first anyways. And I thought he was fine.
Hey.
Who is he talking about that he was fine?
Hang on, Phoenix. Before that, dude, I don't know how it took me this long. He's in a truck, which is a semi. What did Steve say about truckers?
Oh, yeah. ID all of them.
Wild. And now, what was your question?
Well, when he said, oh, shoot, I lost my train of thought. When he just said, play it back just a few minutes.
I don't know if he did it or not. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I could speak to...
Vibe. Who is he talking about?
I think he's talking about Hoodie Guy.
Oh, you think so?
Why, isn't that who he was talking to for a while?
That would be Jack S., who left the bar with the girls and were told to watch them.
Yeah. And
then they run off and ditch him.
Correct. And I also just think it's so weird, too, talking about just weird inconsistencies about the roommates earlier. One thing that just popped in my head, and I'm not going to rehash it all out, but it's like DM apparently invited Kaylee back to be a +1 and then just ghosted her the whole night. Just odd.
The vibe I got from him, which was all people really wanted to know at first anyways. And I thought he was fine. Now, the news outlet first anyways. And I thought he was fine. Now, the news outlet that I talked to, I mean, he really embellished some stuff I said and added his own words to things and kind of changed the verbiage. I wasn't defending anybody. That's one thing he said. I wasn't defending him. I was just saying people need to stop spreading rumors because that could ruin his life. What if he's innocent? It would ruin his life. The other thing he said is that I noticed him come in with the girls. I didn't notice him come in with the girls. I didn't notice him till I cracked the joke to the frat guys because I thought it was ridiculous that it was like freezing outside and that guy was in a tank top. So I just made a joke because that's how I make friends. I don't know. But that's when the guy chimed in and I noticed him. I didn't notice him until that moment. When I was at Corner Club, when I said ew, some people were like, "Why? That's such a weird thing to say. Why would I?" That's what you say when you're standing talking to friends and somebody really drunk, like they smell drunk, they're like bouncing around and they bump into you and like rub up against you. Like that's it's gross. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but she was really, I mean, you could even see in the Grub Buzz video, she walked between us several times and just couldn't even walk straight. That girl was very drunk. She's actually the only one that I thought was really drunk. And she was the only one I noticed at Corner Club because she had bumped into me. Another thing that was weird is that the guy who was interviewing me from the Daily Mail or whatever it was, he said glass-eyed, and I was like, sure, yeah, like that. I didn't actually even use that word. That was his word. And then as far as the car goes, yeah, there's a car that pulled up. I couldn't remember what it was. I couldn't remember if it was black, blue, gray. I couldn't remember. I just remember there a car pulled up. Ooh, so cold. So yeah, so I didn't know what color the cold gray. I couldn't remember. I just remember there a car pulled up. Ooh, so cold.
What is that? That seemed like...
I couldn't remember. I just remember there a car pulled up. Ooh, so cold. Gray. I couldn't remember. I just remember there a car pulled up. Ooh, so cold. So yeah, so I didn't know what color the car was. It was dark. And I just felt like when I told the guy, I said it was a dark car.
I don't know.
What color it was. And I think when I was at the police station, I couldn't remember what color it was. They asked me to. And yeah, so but the Daily Mail guy was like, no, you need to, like, was it blue? Was it black? I was like, I can't remember if it was blue or black. I can't remember. He's like,
if I was in his position, I do know this. I would have a more thought out thing that I'm gonna go and put out there than this. It's word salad. I can't even follow it. I don't even know what's going on outside of that. He says he knows nothing, but has information to talk to the police, and he's just cold. So I don't get it.
we'll just say dark colored car. And I was like, okay. I was like, I think it was a 4-door sedan, but this guy got out and was like, hey, let's go. What's going on? Because the girls were making videos and laughing, and they were trying to grab all the food. Every time food was coming out from the grub bus, they were just trying to grab it. And they thought it was funny. And it was a little funny, but they were trying to grab all the food that was coming out. And when I went up and I talked to the guy at the grub bus, I said, did you just give them food? Because he just said, here you go, like that, and gave them food, and then they ran off. I actually told the grub bus, I was like, that was really nice of you. He's like, yeah, they just need to, they need to get home. And I was like, yeah. They were trying to climb into the grub bus. So, very drunk. And then honestly, as soon as they called my number, I told the guy, I said, they're leaving, bro. And then because they called my number, all I could think about was pasta. I couldn't think about anything else other than just eating macaroni and cheese. And that was it. I didn't give any other thoughts. I didn't think anything else about it. Yeah. Some people have said that, like, I've seen some people say, like, oh, I think it's suspicious how much Joe remembers. I'm an adult. Like, as soon as I realized that those were the girls that we saw there, I tried my best to remember everything and recount it from that night.
The opposite of DM. Sorry, I don't know why my brain just made me say that, but
because I knew that it would help in the investigation. Some people said, oh, Joe might have been the suspect. Dude, I have cameras in my house. I literally have the time I walked in my house. The girls were still alive at that point. And I have a can of soda that I had in my video, having in my hands, walking into my house. So, yeah, it wasn't me, I promise. And other people were saying that I was excited about, like, a claim to fame or something like that. What is wrong with you? That's such a disgusting thing to think. Like, who would be excited about this? I've literally ignored everybody. Like, everybody. The only reason I even answered the Daily Mail guy at first is because he showed up to my friend's house. Like, physically showed up to my friend's house trying to find me or trying to get information about me. Crazy. And yeah, I just wanted to help. A part of me too felt guilty because I was laughing. I kind of laughed at the girls, watching them be drunk because, let's be honest, anybody that lives here, the whole reason that the Grub Bus has a Twitch stream is because the people, I call them zombies, but just kind of like because they're just people come from all walks throughout the night. A lot of drunk people come there after they've finished their night drinking to load up on carbs, eat food. Police come there that are working late. They come get their food.
He's justifying a Twitch stream because people are carb loading when they're half in the bag. What are we doing?
So wait a minute. What have I missed? I'm in the background making dinner on mute, but I'm listening to this and I'm thinking to myself, this is the most sober guy at the grub truck that night. He can't remember what color the car was, and how does he know the girls are still alive by the time he gets home?
And to match it up with the timestamps on his cameras.
Because he's the one that got the notice with his friend Hayden standing there of what? They both got this notice at the same time of a different Twitch stream.
Which his phone, just so everybody knows, if you haven't seen this.
I would have loved
I want to know what the hell
phone.
He's talking about not knowing anything, because our very own Sammy T Mafia, who's on Thursday nights, gathered this incredible footage, and this is the photo that Sammy was able to pull from it. Okay. And I put this into ChatGPT. I said, depict the scene on the phone. And that's what came out, everybody.
Exactly.
That's
because remember
nuts.
when I said at the grub truck, they got the alerts at the same time and that thing popped up. What was everybody looking at? He got the notice. If I was a detective, the first thing I'd want to see is his phone. What did he get and what was the starting of anything?
And that, no, Xana, no. Right? Like.
So with us finding these things and what we're learning along the way, this seems like one big cover up.
I want to watch the rest of it. I couldn't agree more, Phoenix. It's narrative planting from all angles.
You just park right behind the bus. People like me come there who just want pasta in the middle of the night. Yeah, it's all walks of life, all people. But it makes for an interesting crowd pretty late. And so they always live stream it. That's the reason they live stream it. So that camera footage that you guys are seeing, that looks like surveillance, it's not surveillance. It's a live stream for Twitch, for the Grub Bus. One thing I did say that
longer than the bus was open.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true.
I'm glad that was reported truthfully. Is that, you know, I have a little girl, and I mean, she's a baby. She's like not even 2 yet. And she's my world. And, you know, there's a dad out there that these girls, that they're his world, you know, and they're gone. So, and I just felt kind of guilty because instead of helping them when they were drunk, they were entertainment. While I was waiting for food.
I think, look, I have to say that were they drunk? Yes. Like, were they somebody? Did they look like they were people that needed help? I don't think so. I think they were clearly communicating. They were on their phones. They were back and forth. They were probably just like a lot of other people in that situation. They were getting home. They were consciously talking. They were going to get food. Help is like you're laying on the sidewalk and someone's like, what's going on? So, yeah.
Food, they were just the entertainment. They were just the drunk people that everybody laughs at, you know? And it's sad, and some people think that's disrespectful. I mean, it was what was happening. They were drunk. They were out there drunk like that. And
brought up as an online threat.
I don't know why. It was really funny how he just said they were really drunk like that. Like,
toxic traits is that I take on the weight of, and one of my toxic traits is that I take on the weight of everything that's going on around me, both personally or just even with friends and stuff. And so any of my friends that know me, they reached out to me pretty much right away because they knew that this was going to be eating me up. And it has. And I haven't been following what people have been saying until just recently. You know, somebody sent me a TikTok video that had the most ridiculous things on it, and I tried to set those straight. And apparently it fueled more Reddit BS and more rumors. I don't understand how people are making this into an entertainment thing. Like, I live here. My friends are scared to walk to their cars. I'm a big guy and I'm strong. I don't feel super safe going outside alone at night either. I just hope people realize that there's real people that are affected by this stuff, you know, yeah, I just wanted to help, you know. Sorry, I put my hood on. It's really cold. Like, there's snow outside. But at the end of the day, I mean, I feel like people need to stop trying to reach out to me to get statements. There's so many other people that know more about what's going on than I do.
Who?
I just happen to be getting macaroni and cheese at the same time as them. And other than like those couple minutes there, I can't really speak to anything else. And people need to stop dragging whoever through the mud, especially if you don't live here and you don't know anybody, you don't know what's going on really. Like, this isn't funny and it's not entertaining. And I believe that the Moscow Police Department is doing a really good job in trying to kind of just do damage control.
Yeah.
But like, let's be honest, the FBI is like on it. You know, I would be surprised if they have a really good idea of who it is. They're just waiting for evidence, you know?
This guy knows. He knows. It's so obvious. How are you saying that the FBI knows who it is, so stop starting rumors when this hasn't even happened yet? And the police department's doing a great job. He's following the classic narrative pushers of don't let this be a crazy conspiracy theory. The authorities will handle it. You all are crazy for not understanding exactly what you're looking at. You're seeing this, and your brain and your ears and your eyes are telling you that this is all bullshit, but I'm telling you, don't be a conspiracy theorist. Listen to the authorities. Trust me, I live here. Get out of here. And I wouldn't be surprised if they already know who it is. They're just waiting on evidence.
Trying to kind of just do damage control. But like, let's be honest, the FBI is like on it. You know, I would be surprised if they have a really good idea of who it is. They're just waiting for evidence, you know, evidence to just make it concrete, you know, because one of the worst things that can happen, you guys, is if they catch the murder.
First of all, you're going to tell me that they have an idea of who just committed the most brutal unaliving with a fixed blade, and they're just like, we got to wait for evidence. How do you know it's him if you don't have evidence? I don't get that. You're not going to let that guy walk free. Go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
That's a perfect example of linguistic leaking right there.
Yep.
Evidence that makes it concrete.
God, I did not expect to watch this and feel like this type of way, honestly.
Worst things that can happen, you guys, is if they catch the murderer and they arrest them, bring them in, and then they have weak or refutable evidence, and that person walks. Think about that.
Guys, watch that happen. It's literally like every early interview from Kaylee's parents to this guy, they're literally saying, maybe it's like going to be DNA evidence or whatever. Now, what are they going after? Mitochondrial DNA or some shit? Like, oh my God.
You know, so ease up. Don't.
What's up, Mike?
I noticed something I've never noticed before. It's like saying, minimizing to the point of, oh, they were just drunk, it's just what happened, is sort of blaming the victims. You know, we really do.
Yeah.
I mean, we really need to not minimize it ourselves. How, you know, women are constantly crying out, don't blame it on the victim.
Right.
Well, we're not. You know, it's like you can't blame alcohol consumption on something terrible that happens.
And it goes back to that part of don't trust what you see with your own eyes. I mean, jumping into the grub truck, clearly drunk to the point where he's like, I just feel bad I didn't help them. Like, get what? What? That to me is, it lines up with what you just said, Mike.
Don't be jerks to the police, you know? They're literally like, they don't want to give information out because this is like a really tight investigation, but they know things. They know things. I don't understand why they didn't.
How do you know that they know things? You don't know what you don't. I'm not even going to try to do that whole tongue twister of like, you say you don't know, yet you go there and talk to them and they tell you that they know. You come back to us and say you don't know, but now you're assuring us that they know. How did I do on that? I think I got it.
That's pretty good.
That was perfect.
Okay.
I will say my one critique. I don't know why they didn't put out right away that a car picked up the girls and was waiting for them in front of the grub bus. It took them way too long to do that. And there was a lot of rumors going around saying that the girls ran away from that guy. They ran across the street. And that's really when I started to like, man, I should say something, online. But
ran away from that
guy.
Yeah, what does that mean? Was it were they talking about how it looked like they were saying that to Jackass about like whatever? Like I kind of remember that, if that's what they're referring to.
Yeah, I mean that was like the big event of the evening.
Right.
Is they with Jack, and then Jack shrugged his shoulders when they ran off because Joe tipped him off that they had took off.
Yeah.
I work in media and marketing, and I'm a musician, and I have a lot of things that I just want to like give the world. And I'm sad that this is kind of how my name got out there. That makes me really sad. I'll probably delete these videos as soon as they announce the murder and it's all over.
Announce the unaliver.
Yeah, I just caught that too. Yeah, someone just said, and not only did he victim blame, now he's the victim, everybody. He's mad that his music didn't get him out there, that this did.
And when was the date that this was posted?
This was 2 years ago on November 13th. Oh, wait, hang on. It just says November 29th of 2022 is when this was uploaded.
So this was just almost a week and a half after all this happened.
Weird.
But until then, please just stop.
Please stop.
Today I talked to somebody from Dr. Phil. They were wanting me to go.
Stop reaching out to me. I'm not talking to anybody. It's just, I'll just do the Daily Mail. I'll do Dr. Phil. I'll just do the big ass names. Yeah. I don't want my name out there. I'm so sad this is how I got out there. I'm going to go on Dr. Phil. I'm going to go on the Daily Mail.
Go on Dr. Phil and talk about this. And I'm like, why? I don't think people realize how little I actually know. But like I've said, I've been pretty much ignoring everybody. I'm not going to talk to any more media. There's actually, let me backtrack that. No. There's a lady coming to Moscow tomorrow who I'll probably have coffee with, but other than her, that's it.
Should we try to contact him?
I would love to have him on as a guest. I would actually fly out there and I would set up a whole interview thing. I really would.
Yeah, because we're not media.
I'm not media, and I would just be like, dude, tell me what it is that you knew that you felt so compelled to go to the police. Was it just that you saw them and you bumped into them and that you had contact with them all night? Like, I don't know. Yes, Desiree says, I'll bring the pasta.
Yeah,
Who eats pasta at 2 a.m.? All those carbs.
That's what I said. It's just crazy. What was
all
that?
I care about is food. At the grub bus.
Yeah, like, oh, you're saying like how he calls it that?
Yeah, the grub bus. I never noticed that before, but he calls it the grub bus.
I think my first question would be, are you telling, or what would my first question be? Go ahead, Mike, while I think about this.
Well, I was going to say we might want to take a look at Enan Harsh's interview. People were requesting it in the chat. I don't know if you've looked at Enan, but I think that he's the guy in that funky robe that orders two dogs' moms. But
okay.
It's actually highly debated if that's him or not, and he says that it's not him, but it looks an awful lot like him. I have people that swear that it's him.
Okay. So, chat. Oh, go ahead.
There's a lot of suspicious behavior of the second robed individual, his cohort. He's with two women. One is like a girlfriend without a robe on. The other one does some sneaking around and stuff and walking deep away from the camera and handing off something to someone. I just realized that someone pointed it out to me recently. But the interview with Enan is interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm going to break that one down tomorrow night. I've been going for almost 3 hours. I just want to say My Name gets a hilarious, I guess you get like the top dog. I was like, what should my first question be? And Say My Name says, you should ask him to perform his music. Oh, man, that's funny. We got We got jokes. Okay. All right, chat. I'm gonna let the rest of this play.
Sorry, I put my hood on. It's really it's really cold. Like there's
Wait. If that's not like just the most unbelievable ending. Jeez. I'm going to ask, my first question is actually going to be like, are you cold right now? That's what I'm going to ask. And I'm going to ask him if he speaks Portuguese. And so, okay. Jokes aside, though, that I actually would probably take that super serious if that would be something he'd be willing to do, which I know is such a long shot. However, okay. I go live every weeknight, 7 p.m. Central. Tomorrow, I'll dive into the other interviews that we were talking about in the chat. Remember, chat, birdiebombshell00@gmail.com is where you're going to send me stuff if you guys want me to pull it up. That's way more helpful than just you guys can tag me and stuff. I look at that. But as far as the DMs, I have to screen record it and then put it on here. If you email me, it's directly on the PC that I use for streaming. Second thing, this full live, if you missed any of it, will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you guys don't subscribe to the YouTube channel, that's Birdie Bombshells. And if Phoenix or Mike got any last thoughts, we will be back on tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central.
I'll look forward to it. Thanks again for everything.
Yep. Phoenix, you got anything?
No, all good. Fantastic job. I got some more stuff for tomorrow. Oh no, tomorrow you do Sammy, right?
Yep. So I have Sammy, but if you guys are in the chat, I want to break that down because I'm sure if I replayed this with Sammy, it would be extremely entertaining. It would be, you know that she can get fired up in the best way and string some choice words together. So I'm going to be curious to see what she says tomorrow when we watch these interviews.
Well, tomorrow is going to be the public hearing for the state of Idaho versus Brian Koberger.
Yep.
They have to have those documents in by tonight. And I'll be watching that live in the morning and be making some updates.
Okay, great. That sounds good to me. As always, shout out to the Hive Mind that is the chat. Shout out to the mods. Hope everybody has a great night's sleep. And like I said, the full live will be up on YouTube before noon tomorrow. And then, email me all that other stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Cheers.